All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Paper Mario Glitchless Invitational Semifinals here on twitch.tv/speedrun. I am Blue Crystal.
I'm Glower.
And we got quite the match today. JCog versus Butterlord120. So they'll get started any second here, looks like. And yeah, I guess we'll give some background for these runners. So these two runners are the top two, I believe, on N64. So we have a really good race today. The potential to be a really close match. I think both of these runners are probably 347 capable for this race setting. So definitely interested to see how it turns out. And they're getting started. So Glower, I don't know if you have any insight to add on these two runners and their, how this might play out between them. You've known them for a bit longer than I have.
I mean, yeah, they both started running around the same time, I believe. So, I mean, it's really hard to say who's gonna take this one. It's the top two N64 runners for Glitchless. So it's really anyone's game today.
Yeah.
Wait, were they not holding B or something?
Potentially. No opportunity for a reset, though, for that mistake. Yeah, I think they both started running, was it like a year and a half ago? Something like that, a year ago?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, so Butterlord is number one, world record holder on the Nintendo 64. And JCog is number two, so the top two N64 times, or runners, I should say, going at it here. JCog pulling ahead with the early movement. Be really interested to see how their movement compares throughout the course of the run, because both of these guys have just really clean movement throughout the whole game. So we'll see which one of them can be just a little bit more consistent with that throughout the run, which could make or break the race. Yeah, a little bit of the timer desync, but hopefully it's forgivable for everyone. And yeah, 347 would be really good to see in a race. I believe JCog got a 347 in his race. It might have been a 348 in his round 2 quarterfinal race. And that was a really good time. Actually, pretty close to his PB. Gloria, I don't remember. Did you get a 347 or something?
Oh yeah. So I usually play on Wii U. Like, I used to be mainly an N64 runner like these guys, but and then I played on Wii U after a while. And then I recently came back and I got like a 346 with the safe route. So currently my N64 PB is like 346.
Yeah, so a 346 then is considered a pretty top tier time, to say the least. So a 347, with given how long the category is really good for a race, especially considering they're all going to be doing the safe strats. There aren't going to be too many risky moments, and I'm sure they'll both be saving before stuff like Lantern Ghost. So a 347 would be really good to see from both of these runners. JCog, the early Peach's Castle lead. I'll be interested to see if that difference in movement holds up throughout the course of the run.
So I'm not sure if we should like talk about like general knowledge, why we plan Japanese or anything like that.
Yeah, we got some time to kill during prologue, so we can go over a few of those things. If you want to talk about Wii U and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's 3 forms or 3 consoles that you can play on when you play this game. There's N64, which is what this tournament is like restricting the play to. Like you can't play in this tournament unless you're on N64 because in a race setting it's important to have like a level playing field. But anyway, there's N64, there's Wii, and there's Wii U. Wii U is the fastest version of this game, and then N64 is second fastest, and Wii is third. And we're also like playing on Japanese because the text scrolls by faster than it does on English.
Yeah, so you can correct me if my figures are a little wrong, and I don't think anyone knows for sure, but I think for Glitchless, Wii U is projected to save 2 to 3 minutes, and Japanese also saves about 2 minutes over English, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think those are about correct for Glitchless. No one knows for sure how much Wii U and Japanese actually saves, but when you're comparing top tier runners like Butter and JCog, the difference is significant. So
Yeah, so like we said, everyone in this race playing on N64 to kind of level the playing field, and most runners of this game play on Nintendo 64 anyway, so not a huge deal for most of these guys.
I wonder if either Butter or JCog are listening to the commentary right now.
Yeah, I wonder. Some runners have opted to do that. Some runners have opted to kind of sit in the just the silence of, well, not really the silence, but just sit, by themselves, kind of isolating, focusing. But some people like to listen to the race commentary, so pay attention to the chat. So I wonder if either of these guys are doing that today. So JCog's still with about a half-second lead over Butter. Probably not going to see that change too much. Maybe by, up to a second, they could diverge. But throughout Prologue, they're going to be pretty consistent, hopefully. And there isn't really much that can go wrong in Prologue. This block is one of those things, though. And Butter, I think, got a little tripped up on it, but yeah, I think there's only one RNG element to Prologue in Glitchless. I could be a little off there, but I think... Oh, there's the placement of the enemies, I think, on Goomba Road, but I'm thinking of Goomba King's attack as pretty much the only RNG, solid RNG thing in Prologue.
Yeah.
So not much that can change their times by too much. Just gonna have to have pretty consistent movement throughout the next 10-11 minutes. A little late to mention quick jumps, but I'll point them out next time we see them. In battle, they can speed up the jump animation by up to 10 frames by pressing A, sort of as Mario goes into his squat before the jump. And that's called a quick jump and can save up to 10 frames depending on how well you perform it. And, you know, if you do the math, that's 1/3 of a second at 30 FPS, and at a high level, that's super big to get, you know, as many of those as you can.
Yeah, you use the jump action command a lot during the course of the glitchless run, so if you do it 30 times and it saves 1/3 of a second, I think, what, that's 10 seconds that you would save?
Yeah, that's 10 seconds, which is super good. I mean, at this level, 10 seconds, well, it doesn't sound like a lot in a 4-hour run. A lot of these guys have such optimized times where 10 seconds is just a world of difference.
So they just got the power jump badge, and they also got the partner Goombario.
It's a very good Goombario time for JCog. I said it was a very good Goombario time. 10:52 or something like that, so... Of course, compared to my Goombario times, very good. And yeah, these enemies can be a little tricky, both of them getting by pretty quick. And Butter might have made up a little difference here. Getting that hammer going into the cutscene, JCog and Butter both have a pretty early hammer, it looks like. That'll like allow them to exit the fight a little further to the left, and that just speeds up getting to the loading zone after the fight. Interesting debates about ranking games going on in chat right now. I am gonna refrain from weighing in for now. Butter pulling ahead with the with his menuing and quick jumps, I guess. And so he's got a good half a second lead, it looks like, going into the Goomba King fight. And there is the potential to lose a good third-ish of a second. It's about 8 frames. Goomba King will throw out an attack, and what that attack is could save or lose them 8 seconds. Or, I'm sorry, 8 frames.
A fun fact about the Goomba King is that he's actually the king of all Goombas.
Very fun fact. Very interesting.
So, I think the fast attack is when Goomba King jumps up and a nut falls on Mario. The slow attack is when he kicks him in the face.
Yeah.
They both got the slow.
Both got the slow one, so not losing time compared to each other right now. But the fight is pretty straightforward, so they'll get through it without a problem. I don't know what's up with this switch. It has a lot of interesting properties, this blue switch they just hit. I mean, you know, it actually has a weird thing where if you jump on it in midair while it's coming out of the bush, you'll actually crash the N64 version of the game, but the Virtual Console will run just fine. And that's actually a little bit faster for Virtual Console. And
Yeah.
it also has a weird thing. You can actually re-trigger that fight using that. It's not really using the blue switch, but it's using some property of the blue switch. And actually, I think the latest any percent test does that, which is really cool. So just a weird, quirky switch there. And this is the first Peach cutscene, which are always the best parts of the run. This one's just holding B. Not really a Peach cutscene, more of just a Bowser cutscene. Yes, this is absolutely my first time commentating a race on GSA.
So a fun fact about this cutscene is like, when the Koopa Bros like shine, they like shine during the cutscene to show Bowser off. They're trying to like show Bowser the fake Bowser, but nothing actually happens. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you like could unlock the camera or some other way to see what's going on, they just stand there. Nothing really happens. And I always thought they were showing off their secret technique, not the Bowser, fake Bowser. It could be, but I feel like they would have had to transport the fake Bowser into that room. Very clean movement from Butter, it looked like. But they're pretty close here going into the road to Shooting Star Summit. Yes, I did indeed commentate. I have commentated a lot of GSA Paper Mario races so far.
Butter just lost some time going for a swag hammer.
Shame on him. Shame on him.
Yeah.
So they'll be about tied here, which is good to see. Definitely want to see it be just a really close race, you know, until the end. Also, hi, Kesha.
Hi, everyone in chat. You want to see a blowout?
See a blowout. A blowout is only cool when someone PBs or gets a record in the blowout, which is unlikely to happen in this race, but that would be cool. Otherwise, a blowout.
Like the frame right now.
Yeah, this is really close. Chomsky, we already got a fuzzy game fail. I don't know if you were here for that.
Me?
No, Chomsky. Because it was Chomsky who got the fuzzy game fail. Never mind. We won't have to talk about that. I have to list everyone in chat who says hi. Well, you better start saying hi, because I'll give it 10 seconds. Hi, Chef. Hi, Bird. That's a lot of people. Do I care? Lopez, Luigi. There's so many. Alright, I'll go down as far as I think 10 seconds was. Shock's a Jew, I think. Not Death, Mellow Cello, Chomsky, Silent Thought, Shaz, Shionobi, GBP, Strasklin, Klaus, Kendall, Cloud. Hi, Cloud. Can we get a hi, Cloud, in the chat? Vince, hello. Kesha, Andrew Loves Pizza, Azurieti, and Glower, I think was 10 seconds. Hi, Glower.
Hey.
Alright, Magic Koopa fight. They can save a few frames if they block the attack here. Both of them, of course, getting that block. A little trickier than it looks, actually, despite being the first block you can perform. And no one choosing to watch Twink's action command tutorial, fortunately. Well, if you were just looking at the times, it may appear that JCog is ahead, but JCog actually started his timer late, I think. So
JCog cheated. Let it be known.
yeah, trying to get, maybe squeeze a few seconds off his PB here. See how that works out for him. Trying to juke the, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Trying to game the system. Dreaded, you missed the 10-second window. I'm sorry. So I think usually about a 2150 prologue for Glitchless is pretty good on N64. So we'll see how close they both are to that. Of course, add a couple seconds to JCog's timer for that. Oh, Malio! Thank you so much for the host of 44 viewers. Appreciate that. Hope everyone's ready to watch some Paper Mario 64.
Hey, Malio.
Malio, of course, well known for his work on Paper Mario Tassing and Mario Kart Wii Tassing. And I looked away, but it looked like they both got the cutscene overlap.
I wasn't looking either.
We'll say they both did, and no one will correct us. Alright, Mr. Funny Fun. Just to make sure, you gotta correct 2 seconds for JCog's timer because he started it late. So, and I think actually they both started late. But I think JCog just started more late. Okay, perfect. And we are good to go. Buying their items, getting out of there, and we will see the next big RNG factor of the run, the fuzzy minigame. Definitely a bigger chunk of time to be saved or lost here than anywhere else previously. As far as RNG goes, you're going to do this fuzzy minigame. They're going to hammer the right tree to get the fuzzy with the shell. And fuzzy with the shell bounces a certain number of times between trees, and that number is random between, I want to say 6 and 12 is the range. So obviously lower number of bounces is faster, so they're going to look for that. Didn't look so good. I didn't count both of them. It's hard to count 2 screens at a time, but that first round is the most brutal, obviously, because Each extra jump is more time. Ooh, Butter getting a little bit better RNG here. Yeah, and he'll have a good half a second to a second lead here coming out of the fuzzy minigame. Yeah, I believe they started the game at the same time, and if not, Milo has that synced up for us. So if you're looking at the video and you have a stopwatch, you can do some precise timing. That will work. Kendall giving us the knowledge, Paper Mario knowledge, that both of these guys have had very, very close SRL races, seconds apart in the past. So hopefully we'll see a good showing tonight. And it is going to be a late race. 2 a.m. for those of us on the East Coast of the United States. Hope everyone's ready for a comfy night of Paper Mario. Yeah, and triple first tree is pretty rare, as far as I'm concerned. I don't know the exact chances, but yeah, first tree 3 times in a row is pretty good. And much easier. You don't have to worry about getting to the right tree and such.
This paratrooper can be a troll sometimes.
Yeah, not the kindest enemy. Both skating by him on the bottom there.
I think if you're trying to go fast like these runners are, there are some situations where you can't really avoid it. Unless you play it safe.
Yeah, he can be in some weird spots there, and he can kind of get you. Especially if you try and get by him one way, you know, go by him on the bottom, and he is closer than he appears. Anyway, first fight of Chapter 1, or of the Koopa Bros Fortress coming up. Both getting the first strike. Now, I think Glower knows the exact timing, but it's basically the same speed, a little faster to get the first strike, if I remember correctly.
Not exactly sure in that. I think it's like even, but it's like kind of hard to tell. So
yeah, I think the rule of thumb is whatever gets you into the battle first is the fastest. Timer resync would be pretty impossible unless you just overlaid Butter's timer onto JCog's timer spot. But it doesn't seem like there's much need for that. I mean, I would love to see this come down to 2 seconds, but we're probably going to see differences within 20 seconds throughout the run, is my guess.
So that enemy is actually like RNG, whether or not it goes to the left or to the right. Butter got better RNG in this case because it went to the left, and JCog had to go more to the right, so that loses like a second or something, maybe.
Yeah, it looks like he lost about a second or pretty close to it from that extra movement he had to do.
And it's also important to not get first struck because that loses time also.
Yeah, give me a tough encounter, because if you're trying to encounter it as fast as possible, you might get that first strike, which is not optimal. And coming up here, not this fight, but the second fight here in the pit, it's going to be as a very close first strike.
Yeah, JCog's first strike was really
basically the peak of his jump.
Yeah.
And yeah, so once they're done with this fight, pretty straightforward, but they picked up a Fright Jar earlier in Chapter 1, and they're going to be using that on the next fight. So random chance, I believe it's 90% to work on each enemy, so they want it to
Plus
work on
RNG,
both.
guys.
Yeah, plus RNG. They want it to work on both.
Butter getting both.
Butter getting... Oh, and JCog, unfortunate. So JCog will have to do some different strats here. And that loses... I don't know exactly how much time that single freight jar fail loses. But
I
it's
want to say it's under 20 seconds, I think, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I've heard it's in the ballpark of 15. Somewhere in there. And Chomsky saying 15, 20. So we're going to take that as our rough guesstimate. And so that'll change a few things. It's going to be a little slower to do these fights. As well as change a little bit of the XP routing, but not a huge deal as far as that goes. Definitely not what you want to see with the freight jar fail from JCog, but one of those RNG parts that it's pretty big this early on. So I want to say trying to do the mental math here. Freight jar fail is a
What?
I want to say a freight jar fail is... I'm trying to do the math about the chances of getting a freight jar fail, but...
Well, it's an 81% chance that it works on both. And then there are a few variations. One...
Yeah, so it'd be 19% to get any...
Yeah.
And then I guess...
But a double fail is, of course, 1%. And the other...
Yeah, so 18%.
18% is distributed between the first failing and the second failing. So...
Chomsky with the hot prediction that Butterlord will get second try speedy spin. That's an RNG, one of the big RNG factors. Coming up in about 10 minutes, I want to say. About 10 minutes. Once they get out of Chapter 1. Neither of these runners want to get that RNG, but it would even it up here for JCog a little bit. Of course, they'll cross that bridge when they get to it. For now, getting Bombette and do the jail fight. And then pie jumps. I'm going to assume both of these guys are going for pie jumps. I won't jinx anything.
I have faith in both runners. I think they will both get it successfully.
I didn't want to say it in case.
Commentators curse.
But yes, that is Commentators curse. But yeah, that is my prediction. Butter did the bomb first. Do you know if that seems slower?
Yeah, I think it's slower, but I don't really know.
Because Mario's jump would, or I don't know. It depends on whether Mario on the ground is faster than when he's in his hop to that jump animation. Interesting thing to time, but definitely not a crucial detail right now. Especially after that bright jar fail. Not what you want to see. But Butterlord coming up on high jumps, so we'll see how he does with them. Hopefully well. And then see how JCog does with them. I want to say Butter has gotten a better Chapter 1 Shaz, but do not quote me on that, because I don't know.
You mean than Chomsky?
What did I say?
You said Butter. You think Butter has gotten a better Chapter 1 time than Shaz? Or...
Oh, I was talking to Shaz, but yeah, I meant Chomsky, sorry. Butter getting through pie jumps. Pretty fine. JCog's about to do them. Yeah, I'm sorry. I might have skipped some of the context on that. But both looking at 38 chapter 1s, which is very solid. Both expecting a low 38 at their level for a chapter 1 time. Nice hammer there from Butter. Almost max range, it looked like. Timer sync. Compound, if this were any other chat, you would be gone right now.
So this buildable yellow room can be a little bit of RNG. The spawns are luck-based, and it's random, so you have to react to whatever happens, pretty much.
Yeah, and going really fast here is pretty risky because of that random pattern that they have. And a quick optimization here, as JCog goes through this, is Butter's going to hit... He placed Bombette to do the first strike and then went down onto that lower platform to get the heart block. And he's going to hit the heart block right here while the coins are dropping and then race back up to grab him. Because he does need all these coins, well, all except one, I guess. So that's just helpful to do that while Bombette is in her first strike animation. Yes, the timers are synced now, so no more worries about the desync timer. It was so fast, Dreaded missed the sync. So this is the fake Bowser we were talking about earlier. Butter missing the block. Now Glower, we were wondering about this earlier, or the other day. Do you happen to know if that block saves or loses time?
It's even.
Even, okay, perfect.
For the longest time in this community, people thought it was like faster to not block that attack than to block it.
Yeah, that's
actually even.
Yeah, that's what I had heard several years ago. So my mistake, I guess, for not keeping up to date. But there you have it. It is officially just swag to block the claw from fake Bowser.
In most cases, it's faster to block the attack than to not.
That's because of Mario's animations, as far as I know.
Yeah, I actually can't think of a single case where not blocking is faster. Unless you need it for example, to get Peril on a boss or something.
Right, there is the interesting case of the Chapter 5 Junior fight where untiming an action command is actually faster, just because of some text-related things, than timing it. But that's one of the only instances where missing the action command is super helpful. And so Butter, low 38OX, it was like 3807 or something like that. And JCog, not too bad. Obviously, that Fright Jar fail is just not within his control. It's probably about a 20-second difference for these guys right now, which isn't bad. And, well, we'll have to wait and see until Speedy Spin occurs. Yeah, they would be very close without that Fright Jar fail. Was it an 0-2 for Butter? Well, so it's about a 25-second difference then. All right, so the first real Peach cutscene happening. Gonna read Bowser's diary. There's some stuff about star spirits, how cool Bowser is, dry ruins, stuff like that. Story related text that we don't need to read. And I'm assuming no one could read even if we needed to. Not only is it in Japanese, but it also is scrolling at a very high speed. I want to say that I've heard the Japanese text, in addition to being just shorter because it's Japanese text, also scrolls twice as fast. I don't know if that's accurate.
I'm not sure either.
But it's faster regardless. Butter saying no to the Eldstar tutorial, so we're running out of tutorials to potentially see in this tournament. So maybe if one of the finalists or JCog here wants to take one for the team.
We would love to know about this tutorial, JCog. Oh, never mind.
Not in it for the fans, unfortunately.
Well, I guess we'll never learn how to use refresh then.
I'm hoping we won't have to see a refresh though.
Yeah.
I believe it's only useful as a backup. I can't think of any spot it's actually supposed to be used.
Right.
Picking up Dizzy Attack for Butterlord. It's gonna use that in 3 hours. A little under 3 hours, so we got time. Do a Paper Mario tutorial. Well, if you want to learn the glitchless speedrun of Paper Mario that you're watching right now, you can now watch the video tutorial made by JCog. JCog himself. That was like a month ago, something like that. So pretty much brand new. You can go check out that tutorial. Yeah, and the beginner resources are really good for this category in particular. Feel free to head over to the speedrun.com page and check out the Discord if you're interested in running this. Definitely the place to be right now.
I thought it was a month ago also. At Chomsky.
Oh, it was like 3 months ago?
I don't remember.
Shaz, congrats on being crowned Onyx King for twitch.tv/speedrun. I'm gonna have to check out what that is later.
This is a big moment for Butter.
Yeah, very big. Oh,
And
easy slot, safe slot. So we'll see about JCog coming up. You would hate to see JCog get this. The worst RNG. Hopefully he does not. Less RNG for JCog as well in this few seconds here. So, if you're unaware, the shop has a 75% chance to contain Speedy Spin, a badge which is absolutely essential. And JCog getting the second slot, no problem. Both of them are off and running with first try Speedy Spin. So there is that 25% chance to not get Speedy Spin on the first try. And to reset the badge shop, they would need to go 2 screens away and come back, which is good 25 seconds, I think, if I'm not wrong. So that would be a huge hit for one of these runners if that happened. Luckily, nothing of the sort in this race. How many normal hammer commands are there in the run? There's one, at least. I don't think Glitchless hammers Hallway Bowser. Because you definitely don't star beam him. So just one?
There's one on Junior Troopa from Chapter 1.
Yeah, and I guess that's it, so.
Yeah, unfortunately the hammer is like significantly weaker than the jump because when you use Power Bounce with Mega Rush, you get a +4 per bounce. So it's like if you do 5 bounces, you get +20 damage. And there's no hammer equivalent badge to Power Bounce.
Yeah,
So,
if you're not familiar with that kind of damage, you will be seeing that in about an hour. 45 minutes, something like that. So stay tuned.
yeah,
It's actually
definitely.
closer to 35 minutes.
The hammer's probably better at hitting multiple enemies, but in most cases, when you're fighting a boss, you need to just wail really hard on one enemy. And that's what Power Bounce plus Mega Rush is good for.
Yeah, well, we picked up Power Bounce in the Koopa Bros Fortress, but Mega Rush, the badge they'll pick up in Chapter 3. So we got some time, but that will be absolutely essential for a lot of the fights, pretty much all of the boss fights from that point onward. So JCog just picked up Damage Dodge. Butter did as well. That's a badge that will... So normally the block action command, when they take a hit, will decrease damage by 1. But Damage Dodge will make that 2. So an attack that would do 5 damage would do 4 with the normal action command. Now would do 3 to them with Damage Dodge equipped. So that's pretty useful later on, but not quite yet. Yeah, there was a lot to optimize. Messing up his movement, as I was about to say. There's a lot to optimize with this movement on Mount Rugged. In my opinion, it's a pretty fun section to run, just because of the movement. It's really fun. So, we're talking to Buzzar now. Going to hopefully get by this fight without a problem. Perfect. Just say that we are Luigi, and Buzzar will leave us alone.
And if you're wondering, there's 3 options. The first is Mario, the second is Luigi, the third is Peach. If you say Mario or Peach, you have to fight him. Or is it her, actually? Because, like, in the credits, I think...
The game leaves it a mystery. Goombario's tattle uses the he pronoun, and then at the end says something along the lines of, actually he's watching over some eggs, so maybe he is actually a she. So it kind of leaves it open to leaves it a little open-ended, but Butter just picked up some coins. Those are the last coins that they'll need to worry about for the run. JCog's about to grab them right now from this block. And Butter hitting an upgrade block, or yeah, upgrade block, super block, something like that. Whatever it's called, it will allow them to upgrade their partners to the next level. And going to be doing that for Bombette right now. And just because Bombette will gain +1 attack, power, and an extra attack move, which is very useful for some fights coming up. Yeah, super block sounds correct, but they do allow you to ultra rank the partners later on, so Makes more
Yeah,
sense.
there's super
to
rank
say
and
upgrade
ultra
block.
rank.
Yes, in order to ultra rank your partners, you need the Ultra Stone, which is a key item that they will get later. Very useful. We will be seeing 2 ultra ranked partners in this round. So, if you're a Paracarry fan or a Lackluster fan, look forward to that.
Butter nearly fell off the roof.
Yeah, he did that in a. I think he did that in a run recently, and I could be wrong. I don't remember, but yeah, you don't want to fall off there. Definitely a lot trickier than it might seem to move. Not just in the outpost in general, but especially these houses, the roofs, can be a little tricky. So Butter is just flying right now, going to the ruins. Going to open the dungeon of Chapter 2, which is an interesting area. I guess we'll touch on that in a second. And JCog is going to do the same thing in a second here as well. So, yeah, do you want to talk a little bit about the ruins and their kind of weird geometry, Glower? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah. So pretty much every dungeon in this game is very linear, like not in the way that you complete it, but as it's structured. So like the ruins are very curvy and different from every other dungeon in the game, interestingly. And in my opinion, it makes the movement pretty fun and unique in this chapter.
Yeah, it can be seen as a little frustrating, I guess, because it's a little different from what they're used to. But my opinion, it also makes the movement kind of fun. Kesha, Kesha, thank you for the subscription to twitch.tv/speedrun. Much appreciated. If anyone else has some money lying around or Twitch Prime on deck, if you have Amazon Prime, link that to your Twitch account. Get a free subscription to twitch.tv/speedrun. Just saying. But yeah, they are gonna go through these rooms with the keys and the switches. Pretty straightforward. They just know where to go. JCog's gonna grab Spike Shield from this coffin, this sarcophagus, I guess, which Butter did as well. So that will be useful for a fight. Cloud 1. Oh my god. Kesha, thank you so much for gifting 5 tier 1 subs to the community, to the GSA community. Everyone who is now subscribed, enjoy your new GSA emotes. Kesha, thank you for supporting the channel.
I really
Kesha, while you're at it, Kesha, while you're at it, hit up the Streamlabs page, get some merch, maybe. Drop an exclamation mark merch in the chat. Get some of that GSA merch.
Alright, so here is where you're going to see Power Bomb come into play. The reason we upgrade Bombette is because she highly outclasses all of the other partners at this moment. Like, Power Bomb early game, when there's a bunch of grounded enemies, is extremely good.
Oh yeah, and Kesha bought a GSA tee already, so she is going off. Thank you so much, Kesha. And another gift sub to Chomsky. Wow.
And we bought a Thunderbolt in the shop for that swoop. I think it's Swoopula, actually, but...
Oh yeah, I don't remember what these guys are called. Oh, so this is the difference here. You saw Butter just first struck that Pokey with Bombette, which is not easy, not hard. It's a little tricky to get used to. But that will skip buying one of the Thunderbolts. And actually, they'll skip buying 2 of the Thunderbolts. Someone was asking about that earlier. So there's the 1 Thunderbolt JCog just used. They'll skip 1 extra Thunderbolt here by this first strike that JCog's going to try and do. Perfect. Oh, a little bit slow, but so that skips the other Thunderbolt, and then the 3rd Thunderbolt will be replaced by a Thunder Rage. I'll point out when they pick that up post Chapter 2. Oh, it's a Swooper according to Dreaded, and the Swoopula is the one in Chapter 7. That's what I'm being told. Kesha telling us that the GSA t-shirt is super comfy and would definitely recommend, so be sure to buy some merch from GSA, exclamation mark merch. And they're doing this puzzle right here, so Butter, maybe? No swag hammer, unfortunate. So you get a glimpse of the Chomp statues right here. That's basically the main puzzle of the dungeon. You're gonna grab some puzzle pieces, I guess. I don't know how else to... Some stones, I guess. And put them in those statues to solve the puzzle. JCog missing the chest a little bit there. And so yeah,
because
so this is, yeah, go ahead.
Both Goombario and Cooper are like pretty weak in battles, so that pretty much leaves us with Parakarry as our main form of attack.
Yeah, and Parakarry's going to be super important. He has a really good move, his Shell Shot ability. It costs 3
Yeah.
FP to use, and it is very good. It bypasses defense.
No, it doesn't.
Or no, it doesn't. I'm sorry. I think that's just bomb.
No, just the only thing that pierces defense is Watt's Electro Dash and items.
Oh, and Starstorm.
And Starstorm.
Yeah. Alright, so I was misremembering, but regardless, it is going to help us do a lot of damage to a lot of bosses. And I'm sorry, it bypasses stuff like spikes and fire enemies, which Mario normally can't, you know, jump on or anything.
Yeah.
So that's one part of why it's useful, but it is also just a really strong move and very cheap on FP. And so that his attack gets upgraded when we upgrade him, so very useful. And we also do want his extra abilities for some fights.
Yeah, Shell Shot's like, it's basically Bombet's bomb, except you can also hit aerial enemies and elemental fiery enemies. It's really good.
Yeah, really versatile.
What is Butter doing?
Did he almost go down?
No, he just jumped in front of the door.
Oh, yeah. That, I mean, these locks are pretty weird.
I am also a hater of that lock. That's the hardest part of the entire dungeon, in my opinion.
Yeah, it has a very weird hitbox. But yeah, they're just kind of flying through the dungeon, getting these stones. Looks like Butter's movement has been a little crisper. Kind of expected. Butter's Chapter 2s are typically kind of a cut above. And yeah, so I think I expect he'll be making up a decent amount of time over JCog here.
The average time to complete. Oh. Well, we've had someone who got like 4 hours, 20 minutes, and we've had people get as low as 4x. So, I mean, I would say sub 4 is probably the average.
Yeah, an average overall is probably about 4 hours. For these guys, we're going to be expecting Probably sub 350, I'm sure, if nothing terrible goes wrong. For example, Crystal King 3 cap. And yeah, so Butter starting the Toot and Koopa fight. Interesting fight, just because of so they're going to be using Power Jump and Shell Shot, which we talked about, but Mario's jump is actually going to be a little different now that Toot and Koopa is bringing out this Chomp. I think its name is Chompy. Yeah, so Mario's going to jump a lot earlier. The action command and quick jump timings will both be a little different. And menuing over to Toot and Koopa is now necessary. Do not want to jump or shell shot the Chomp instead. But looks like a fine fight from both of these guys. Well, I shouldn't say that yet for JCog, but a little tricky for new runners, but hopefully no problems here.
I believe the pace that Butter's on is actually like pretty above average. I think he's getting a 1:00 chapter 2 time, which is really good.
Yeah, that's extremely good. For reference, a top chapter 2 time is a 1:01, like mid-low 1:01. So he's just gonna be a 1:01. Oh, 1:59. It looked like. I'm not sure if I don't know about the whole timer thing at the beginning because they'd started late, but that's pretty close to a sub 1:01, if not a sub 1:01 chapter 2, which is very good for Butter here.
And yeah, JCog falling behind mostly because of the Fright Jar fail in chapter 1.
Yeah, really unfortunate that he got hit by such stupid RNG pretty early. That is one of the big RNG parts of the run, as the Fright Jar in chapter 1. Both of the Fright Jars in the run, actually. As well as Speedy Spin and a few other things coming up in the next few hours. So about a 30-second difference, it looks like, for the runners. Butter definitely has a comfy lead here about an hour in. But it is Paper Mario, so cannot say anything yet for sure. And this post-chapter 2 Peach cutscene is the first one where there's a possibility of getting caught. I don't think either of them will get caught, hopefully at all during the run, but going through the library to get some info about where the next Star Spirit is. Yeah, so just sneaking behind this Koopa Troll. This is essentially the guards segment in Ocarina of Time. And yeah, so no problem.
Luckily for us, these guards are not RNG based. They're pretty much on a timer. So if you just move quickly enough, you'll avoid them every time. No problem.
Yeah, I would say guard sections in games are generally not the greatest, but luckily this one is, as Blower said, just cycle based pretty much. No RNG there. And this is where Butter is going to pick up that Thunder Rage. Will be used for a Junior Troopa fight a little later on, replacing the third Thunderbolt that the beginner route would get. Yes, the guards do suck at guarding. That is also a common theme with the guard sections in video games. That's an interesting idea. Dompe as a Chapter 9 boss. Master Quest version 2.
He'll only let you win 10% of the time.
Yeah, 10% win chance, regardless of how strong you are. I mean, it's better odds than some of the categories in this game. There's a lot of people coming in for this race. Hopefully everyone's ready to enjoy a night of Paper Mario. Glitchless. The most comfy category. It's true. Bazaar also does suck at guarding. Fortunately for us. I think her vision is a little poor, perhaps.
So JCog just passed a super block, which he can actually get to, but because Gumbario and Cooper are like so weak and outclassed by other partners, we just skip it.
Do you know if that would be faster if we could ultra rank someone like Parakarry? Well, I'm assuming it would be for routing fights, but
I think for sure it would be faster to upgrade Parakarry there, because
yeah. Oh yeah, because you have to go around back on the zip. Yeah, true.
and he would be doing more damage early on.
Yeah, so routing the fights would be a little better. But no such thing.
Yeah, you unfortunately don't get the Ultra Stone until like middle of Chapter 5 or something, so not an option.
Yes, very reasonable if you are if you're not able to watch the whole thing. It does end quite late here on the East Coast, and I'm sure a lot of European viewers are already in bed. But if you are in for the long haul, welcome. Enjoy your stay. We're glad to have you here. Butterlord going through the Forever Forest. JCog's about to as well. Pretty straightforward. There are some movement optimizations and encounters here. I'm sure the encounters won't be a problem for these guys, but I guess it's a decent time to talk about spin cancels. So just as kind of an overview, after their spins, they are jumping at they're doing a short hop. So there's an end lag when you spin, and to avoid that end lag where Mario slows down to a halt, you can jump, and jumping keeps your momentum pretty well. I mean, you do lose speed, so you want to keep it as short as possible, but that just allows you to keep some of your momentum and get back on the ground and start spinning again. And other ways of spin canceling exist, and one such way is what JCog's going to do here. He's going to use the wall to spin cancel. I don't know if you caught that, but basically, if you, and we'll be seeing it a few more times, so like I'm assuming they'll do it more throughout this run. The gist of it is if you spin against a wall or really any collision in a certain way, it's kind of a weird property, but if you spin against a wall in a certain way, a certain angle and distance from the wall, you can actually just instantly get a spin cancel and start spinning again, which is very useful. So that's kind of the overview, still kind of long-winded, but I'll try and point a few more of those out throughout the run. Butterlord is now on the record minigame. Well, the minigame to get the record.
Basically, game is like RNG where the boo drops it.
Yeah, it's a random time before he drops it, like how many cycles he does before he drops it, and so that can lose a bit of time on the split. One of those kind of minor RNG elements, but at a top level, you really want to get, you don't want to get a bad minigame for sure.
The boo that's approaching Butter right now is also RNG. All these like mini RNG sections in Chapter 3 are not really gigantic time losers. They're just like sort of a minor thing that don't really matter too much.
Yeah, and there's a similar kind of mini game coming up for the super boots that is also a little bit RNG based. Wonder if Butter will open the chest. No. Choosing not to waste 5 seconds. Alright, sorry, I missed some chat while I was trying to explain spin canceling, I guess. Hopefully, nothing important. But Butter, with the super boots, JCog about to play this minigame, and Butter's going to use them here. Not too much more to say about the run until, I guess until Gusty Gulch, but really until Tubblebubba's Castle, I guess, is when it gets a little more interesting. Right now, just going back up to the top of the, well, going to get the, what is it, the painting, the something?
The portrait.
Yeah, the portrait, thank you. The portrait of the boo, and go back to the top of the mansion. Get our 5th partner, Bo, who is pretty useful for a speed run. And head onwards to the dungeon of Chapter 3, Tubblebubba's Castle. If you're looking to find glitch, if you're looking to glitch hunt this game, there's a couple. I guess there's a couple glitches that you might want to see for speedruns. I guess one of those would be finding a way to skip the seeds to enter Chapter 6. Right now, the only way to skip the seeds entering Chapter 6 is to enter it in an already completed state, which isn't really helpful if you're trying to do anything in Chapter 6, so...
I think we're at the point in glitching the game where there's not much else to find. So you would... I mean, I think the best chances of, like, finding something big or, like, looking into the game's memory and seeing what happens if you do some things.
I mean, it's a little bit tricky to theorize of major glitches, considering I mean, the run is already like an hour and 40 minutes in any percent, so, well, an hour 39. But yeah, I guess it could always go down if someone chooses to put their glitch knowledge to use. I don't know, what would be a cool, useful speedrun glitch that would save a lot of time?
It depends on the category. For example, in all cards, if you could clip your way to get Bow ASAP, you could actually probably get Bow and have her in the category again, but I mean, the chances of that are so unlikely because the room is a box. So
it would be a very weird clip if you were to be able to get up there.
Or a few other things are like get into the windmill without opening the door. Like the only reason we go to Tubba's is because we need the key to open the door. So if you could just like go into the windmill and just fight the heart, then that would save you the entire trip to Tubba's probably. But you might want to like go and
Rush.
get Mega Rush.
Just to point out, Butter getting first struck there, that was very intentional. And then did nothing and got 2 more hits from the clubbers. That is to manipulate his health down to 2. He could have, he chose to block one of the clubbers attacks. I don't know if there's any reason to do that, or it might save frames, but just because he's going to take hazard damage later, so that extra damage doesn't matter. The extra health doesn't matter. JCog doing the same thing. See if he blocks an attack. Yeah, JCog usually blocks the last one, I think. So both at 2 HP, they're going to take 1 more damage from spikes, and they'll be at 1 HP. So that will be very important for a lot of the fights in this game, and especially, well, first of all, there's the final, I don't want to say final boss, but like pretty much the real final boss of this category, or of this chapter. Basically, the fight coming up in the windmill like Glower was talking about. Slop. Hello, Slop.
Oh, Butter getting the really quick cycle in the spike room.
Yeah, does not need to jump onto the chest and jump on the other spikes. Little time save there. But that is the hazard damage. He's now at 1 HP. That's what we call peril. And the badge he's picking up right now, this hidden badge, Mega Rush, is a badge that will give Mario a 4 attack, like a +4 bonus basically to ooh, JCog skating by those spikes right there, messing up the whoops. Little time loss there from JCog, but anyway, so in peril, Mario will get a +4 attack boost on his attacks, and that is extremely useful when combined with power bounce. No, you get a good demonstration of that in the fight coming up in about 3 minutes. Probably. I don't know exactly how long. Yes, the first power bounce fight as well. So you'll be seeing both of those badges in action for the first time.
Well, you can still win the fight. It's just like you have to deal 45 HP without Mega Rush, and that's like kind of hard to do. So I don't really know. And it depends on the category also.
Although I guess it would be faster to do the fight if you could win the fight in a good amount of time. Do the fight and then visit the castle. I'm assuming to get Mega Run.
Yeah, maybe the windmill wasn't the best example of a skip find that we would want, but yeah.
Yeah, these guys are indeed the couple of the best Paper Mario players to run the game, so very high level of skill here.
Yep, currently ranked number 1 and number 2 on the leaderboards for N64 Glitchless.
Both have very comfy streams of their own. Go check them out. Go give them a follow. And coming up, Butter's going to try and get out of this room quickly. Kind of an RNG element. Tubba Blubba's going to have a text box. And, well, if... I guess we'll see. Alright, and he gets textless, so Tubba Blubba did not have his text box. There's a text box that wastes like a second or something. If you get it, but you can, with the help of a little luck, get out of that room before that text box appears. The new runner on the scene, I'm Flower, is number 1 in Glitchless Wii U.
I guess my days are over.
Yeah.
JCog getting a tech skip as well, wow.
Yeah, so that just requires pretty clean movement and a little bit of RNG help to get that, so. Just like the cycles in Chapter 4, which be sure to point out when I get there. So, this is the heart fight on Butter's side. So 6, 5, and then 4, 3, 2, 1.
What he just got is that 5 event. It's
yeah,
already...
so basically, yeah.
You want to go ahead?
Sure. I just wanted to say that you can see that the damage is crazy with Power Bounce combined with Mega Rush. It's a +4 boost to each bounce. Normally with these boots, they would be doing
2
at first, or 3, 2,
1 plus
2
1
plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So yeah, it normally just does that, where it goes down to 1. You can't do that much damage, but with Mega Rush, it's +4 to all of those. So yeah, you rack up a bit of damage. Well, not +4 to all of them, but it's +4 to the first one and then going down by 1. But yeah, to explain Power Bounce caps, we'll see if JCog gets one. I don't. It doesn't really matter. The game, in order to balance out Power Bounce, because I guess they realized that Power Bounce might be pretty useful in cheesing a lot of boss fights. They decided to cap your... There's a random chance that you get capped at a certain number of bounces. Regardless of whether you hit the action command, you can't do any more bounces. And that's what's called a cap. And this cap is random... I don't know a good way to describe this, but on a lot of... So on bosses and strong enemies, basically bosses have like a minimum of usually 3. Can you get 3 capped on the heart?
No.
Alright, well, the heart has a minimum of 4. You will always be able to do at least 4 bounces. Starting at 4, you can get capped. And the chance that you get capped goes up. So the 6 cap is much rarer for a lot of bosses than, a 5 cap. Although a 3 cap is also rare on a lot of bosses, so the exact random calculation is a little tricky and complicated, but that's kind of the gist of it. Is a random element of how many bounces they can do. I haven't perfected my explanation of power bounce caps, so apologies, but hopefully you get the gist of what they are. And so when we refer to something as a like a 4 cap, that's what that means. Is they got 4 capped and they couldn't do any more bounces. So sometimes we'll say they want a 5 cap here, or a 5 bounce. That just means they don't want to get 4 cap or 3 cap. So hopefully that's clear.
Yeah, even if you hit the action command correctly, the game can randomly say, nope, you're done. And you can no longer bounce.
Yes,
it's one of the worst, if not the worst mechanic in this entire game.
Yeah, it's not great. I'm sure most, if not all, runners of this game wish that if power bounce caps weren't removed, they were at least toned down a little. Why can't we get minimum 5 cap on everything, for example?
Yeah.
But it does exist, so that's kind of the big RNG thing, especially in the later boss fights. And
Sorry, I'm responding to someone in chat. That's something we actually timed recently. It's only about a second slower, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, a 6 and a 4 bounce and a shell shot, or a double 5 and a shell shot is pretty much the same speed as a 4 and a 3 with 2 shell shots. And just in case you want to play along at home, although we'll point out when they get capped, I guess. Mario will do a different animation when he gets capped. Sometimes they will drop the power bounce intentionally, which might happen here. I guess we'll point that out right here. But Mario will kind of fly back, a big arch in the air. And that means they got capped. If they miss or drop the power bounce intentionally or unintentionally, hopefully not, Mario will kind of just drop to the ground. So we'll see what happens in this fight right here. They want a 5 bounce. And yeah, right there, Mario kind of just dropped to the ground. That means the game would have let him continue, but he didn't want to do any more bounces because it wouldn't matter. So just dropped it there and finished off with a shell shot.
So the N64 version is actually pretty laggy in Toad Town, so Butter actually switched to bow in the forest to reduce lag.
Yeah, small optimization, but you know, why not? Yeah, so I think it's 40-second difference or something. So an early for HR fail for JCog, but Butter making up a lot of time on his own, just out of movement, and menuing has been really clean for Butter.
JCog did not get capped. He dropped the bounce because he only needed 5 to kill with shell shot. The cap animation throws Mario really far back to the left, and when you miss the bounce, Mario will just drop down to the floor. That's how you can tell the difference.
Oh yeah, if you're talking about the power bound or the power jump, yeah, turn 2, you do a power jump. And,
sorry.
I know. I wish they could just tie as well. Tie down to the frame. But not gonna happen. Probably. You know, not really ruling anything out, but yeah, very clean performance from both of these guys so far.
This is still anyone's game.
Oh yeah. Yeah, if you're familiar at all with Paper Mario or RPG runs in general, you know that in a game as long as this, in a game like this, 40 seconds, not the most secure lead. And Butter not picking up the mushroom. Usually a safety for beginners picking up the mushroom to eat there, because they are in peril. And there is a tricky encounter coming up, but there is a lure for it. So assuming they don't mess up the lure, that mushroom will not really matter.
Yeah, and anytime we say peril, that means that Mario is at 1 HP. When he's at 1 HP, the Mega Rush badge is activated, and Mario can do mega damage, pretty much.
Yeah, huge amounts of damage. If that, I mean, routes would be so much different if Mega Rush and Peril strats didn't exist.
Yeah, I would say Power Bounce and Mega Rush are the lifeblood of the battles of the run.
For sure, yeah.
Without them, the run would be very different.
So Strasklin, a lot of runners do choose the mushroom, but eating the mushroom takes a few seconds, and that's time that they really want to save at a high level. And both these runners can. There is a lure for the encounter coming up that makes it 100% avoidable. So assuming they do that right, they will not actually get an encounter. So you're gonna see Butter do this lure right here. This Sky Guy is gonna follow him to the left, and he's gonna basically spin out of range, and that will put the Sky Guy far enough to the left where it won't encounter him on his way back. But yeah, if they did miss the lure, it could get a little dicey, because it would be pretty much in the hands of RNG whether that guy encountered them.
So the three things that Butter just got are the badge Ice Power, which is going to be used in Chapter 5. He nearly got that encounter, wow. A Thunder Rage, I think, also being used in Chapter 5. And then the Frying Pan, which is used to progress the story.
Yep. And JCog doing the lure, no problem. So both of them are going to get through here without a problem, just like we expected. And Butter is on his way to get the cake. JCog, what is it, around? Actually looking more like 50 seconds behind, I want to say. According to our timer, Mr. Funny Fun in chat. Probably around 50 seconds. Seems like, if I'm doing my math correctly. But yeah, still not a very secure lead for Butter, although it's a commanding lead. It's a commanding lead, but not a 100% secure one in this game. Really clean movement from Butter through that room, which Shaz called the Errands Room, I think. It's kind of a neat name for that. I don't know if that's a common name, but... Headed back to the pink station to deliver this cake to Gourmet Guy. So you're seeing Butter do some of those spin cancels against walls. And you see them spinning against walls, like JCog here. Doesn't actually go for it, but they're usually trying to get a spin cancel. And those hallways are prime place to get them.
So I believe that item right there is the cookbook. It's not useful at all because I think all it does is let Tasty, the chef, cook 2 items at the same time.
Yeah, that's what I think.
So
I
we give Gourmet Guy the cake so that we can just hit the pink switch and leave.
yeah, I may or may not have said that that is the book that you give to the nerd in Toad Town, but yeah, I actually think it's the recipe book that allows 2 ingredients to be used at Tasty's kitchen. So Butter will be off to do the last few things in the chapter as JCog flips the switch and goes to get back on the train to Green Station. This puzzle.
So I believe to actually solve this, what you would do is you would go to the down right room and then get the note from one of the Shy Guys, and then you would hand that note to the nerd guy in Toad Town.
Yeah, I
but
believe
luckily we
that's
can skip all of that.
Yeah, that would be even more of a headache. That's like even further away from than the other 2 errands we've had to run.
Oh, Butter's also opting to save here just in case of a double 4 cap.
Yeah, I'm hoping JCog does as well, because this is one of the, I guess the first, yeah, it is the first RNG section that can, oh, Butter just missing a quick cycle there. If you're fast enough with a decent RNG, you can get onto that platform before it rises up, and he was very near to getting it. But yeah, this is the first time that RNG can kill you. You do have a life shroom if something happens to go really wrong. Or, I'm sorry, if something happens to go really wrong, they have save. But in the case of a double 4 cap, which can happen, you'll actually lose a life shroom on this fight, which is not what you want to see happen. But Butter is in peril, and he's going to go for some power bounces here. He wants at least 1 5 cap. Well, he wants 1 5 cap, so. Alright, and he does get a 5 bounce there. Gonna go just for a 4 bounce, which is guaranteed. JCog also missing the quick cycle.
The dictionary is in a chest at Pink Station, I think.
Green Station? Wait.
And then there's a note in the, what is it? I always mix up the stations.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. We know the answer to the puzzle. Well, what's at Green Station if, I don't know.
Okay, so the main one is blue. The one with the bosses is the red. And then green and pink are, I always mix them up.
Green is the puzzle. Pink is Gourmet Guy and the frying pan. Oh,
JCog got a 4 cap.
JCog get 4 capped, so he's gonna need a 5 cap. And Butterlord is gonna go for God Cycle here. He might not get it, but his menuing and movement has to be perfect. And this platform may be able to get up here early.
Are you kidding me?
Did he get double 4 capped?
He did.
Oh my goodness.
That's a 2% chance. I think it's like a 16% chance for 1 4 cap.
Yeah, Icewind is very happy about that. So
that is not so unfortunate.
That's not good. I was watching Butter, but he's gonna kill and do a backup to get back into peril for the general guy fight. So he does lose a life shroom, probably about 20 seconds to that.
Okay, so JCog is at 10 HP. He's no longer in peril. He needs peril for general guy. And I think he may get it on General Guy with the Shy Squad, but there's a chance he also goes and fights the Pyro Guy, the fiery enemy.
I'm sure he'll do the fast backup.
I hope he's saved, because this is a little worrying to me. Because he no longer has a life stream. If he dies, that's it. He would have to reset if he's saved before Lantern Ghost.
And doesn't get the God Cycle. Neither of them getting the Quick Cycle or the God Cycle. But Butterlord's just going to power bounce these guys. He does save before General Guy, so good. He is just going to need to get back into peril at the beginning of the General Guy fight. So it's really no problem if he remembers the backup, which I'm sure he does. Just a 20... It's going to be 20 plus seconds time loss there to Lantern Ghost. So yeah, just getting destroyed by RNG in this race.
I think it was more than 20 because the live stream animation's 10 and then it was like an extra turn.
Plus the backup, plus the save, yeah.
Plus he has to back up and he saved. I want to say it's like 40 seconds, but I could be off by some amount of time.
Yeah, 30 to 40. Very not good. Not what you want to see from a race. So really getting the fringe RNG, the Fright Jar fail and double 4-cap Lantern Ghost, so definitely going to need to play really solidly. Butter is probably going to have to get some either a mistake or some bad RNG.
So
for JCog
there are 15 shies, or what are they called? Shy guys here. If you damage one, it disappears. So what JCog did was he did 6 damage, so that there were 9 left, and that's how he backed it up to get peril.
Yeah, they all do 1 damage, so if there are 9 of them, 10 minus 9.
May or may not be faster than getting peril on Lantern Ghost. I'm really not sure because you don't expect to ever get a double 4-cap because it's a 2%.
Yeah, very fringe case. It's actually happened twice in this invitational, so really unfortunate to see. Butter about to finish up this fight here. I didn't see what Butter got. In terms of General Guy's attacks, but we'll point out that General Guy can do. He's going to do 2 attacks during this fight, and one of them is a bomb attack, and the other is a lightning attack. Lightning is slower than bomb by 3 seconds, so there's 6 seconds to be lost or saved on this fight alone. I believe it's 60-40 lightning versus bomb.
Yeah, and it's like almost a 3-second difference between the attacks. So what General Guy does is actually pretty significant. I'm looking back at the VOD. Butter got lightning first.
Oh, JCog got a bomb.
And lightning.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
Butter got lightning twice.
Can save 6 seconds here over Butter's fight, but he did have to do a backup, so and he gets lightning.
Did they both get double lightning?
No, JCog got a bomb.
Oh, okay.
So 1 bomb, 1 lightning, saves 3 seconds over the double lightning. Unfortunately, still pretty far behind due to that unfortunate double 4-cap.
So the guards here are also based on a cycle. They're not RNG based. And also during the Star Spirit spawning cutscene right here, you can actually move for like 1 frame. The same is actually true for like when you're about to enter the fight with Toot and Koopa. So you can actually save a small amount of time if you just know that. And now it's time to bake a cake. So another fun fact is you can actually bake this cake for, I believe, 416 years, and Gourmet Guy will still eat it.
Something like that. But not 23 seconds to the frame, apparently.
My number's probably off. I think he heard Glitch corrected me on this. I might be thinking of another Paper Mario glitch.
They're all kind of the same. You know, you do a couple hammers, couple spin jumps, and you're done. We are going to make a delicious soap cake. An Andy's cake. Andy's soap cake today. Hopefully we'll see JCog go for that soap cake.
Well, JCog
That
almost
was
got
very
caught there.
close. I was really scared.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So usually what runners do during this time is right when the door closes, that's when you would start your timer. And you would count to 24 using a stopwatch. And then right when it hits 24, or a little bit after, you can open up the oven.
So is 24 the minimum, or is it 23 and 1 frame? Which I've heard.
I think it's 24, but
Okay. Because I thought it was 30 seconds and then 6 seconds in either direction, but
yeah.
Butter is topping his cake, and assuming he didn't put soap in while we were looking away, Gourmet Guy will take that cake. The soap cake is an old meme. I don't know if it's really relevant to tell the story.
Also, when you enter that room with Gourmet Guy, you can also move for 1 frame, and I believe it saves time also. So that's another thing.
And if he rejects the cake, you can use Clippy to do some weird stuff. I think.
Yeah, if you actually fail to bake the cake and Gourmet Guy like isn't happy, you actually get a glitch, kind of. Like you get a glitchy state. Like the developers never changed the specific value back to what it was supposed to be, so you can actually like kind of clip through walls and you can actually get out of bounds with this glitchy state. It's commonly referred to as Clippy. So yeah.
It's always relevant. Alright, well, pretty much, I'm not the best storyteller, but the way the story goes is that A is for Andy's, who is an old runner of this game, was doing his first glitchless run, glitchless attempt, and he was looking at the route, and during the cake cutscene, the route says, like, butter on the far right of the table or something, and it's kind of unclear that means the far right of the table, and there's like an extra table that has soap on it. So he went one more to the right, and grabbed the actual far right item, which was the soap and not the butter. I guess it's technically cleanser, but basically he ended up making a very poor cake for Gourmet Guy, and it's since been referred to as the soap cake.
So Butter just did a jump towards Fuzzipede when he first entered the room. If you jump at the right time, you can actually encounter Fuzzipede early, and it saves like 3 seconds.
Yeah, it is very precise though. We'll see if JCog gets it. It would be pretty cool. But basically your initial position kind of needs to be on point, and then your jump needs... It's like a 1 or 2 frame window to jump or something, so I've heard.
Yep.
Thank you. I tried my best at telling the story. It's an age-old tale. A very dramatic one, and I've done my best to relay it onto everyone. So now you know the story of the Andes soap cake. Yeah, JCog, very just unfortunate run, really being screwed by the RNG. You know, Butter is making up a lot of time on his own, but JCog's being really bombarded by first the Fright Jar fail and then the double 4-cap Lantern Ghost, which probably in total cost him a minute just to RNG. And I don't know quite how far behind he is, but that is so huge. Oh, and he got the early Fuzzipede encounter, so you saw that jump collide with Fuzzy while he was in the air. That's definitely nice to get. Again, pretty precise, just because you have to set up initially for it, and then make sure your jump is timed correctly. So, really nice to get that.
So we used to get Peril on another fight, but like about a year ago or something, it was determined that it was faster to get Peril on this enemy.
Yeah, Volt Shroom takes pretty good care of Fuzzipede.
Another fun fact is those hidden items are usually around those plants. I think they're called like bell plants or something. So what Butter did is he just picked up one of those hidden items. It's called a Repel Gel. It's really good, so...
Nice one, Kendall. And I don't know if Butter went for the spout. But JCog hopefully will get the water spout here. Maybe. There we go. So
Yeah,
spout from
Butter
JCog. A quick spout. Okay, so...
All you have to do to activate that is press A once during that cutscene. It's a interesting mechanic, and it doesn't save or lose any time if you do it.
Yeah, really nice that that's in the game.
JCog also looking like he's getting the Repel Gel.
So supposedly about a minute and 24 seconds behind is JCog, which would be more like 20 seconds without the RNG that he got. He has been getting the worst RNG, so Butter's gonna do a little thingamabobber here to get around this spear guy, pick up Power Quake, and be on his way. Shy Guy's a little tricky to get the hang of, but...
So Power Quake is a hammer badge that lets you hit all enemies on the ground or ceiling. And with the combination of Mega Rush, it's going to do a lot of damage.
In 6-cap Lava Prawn, it could save about 20 seconds or so, but not... well, it's about a quarter of the time he needs, so... But yeah, this is definitely not over for JCog.
It's still anyone's game.
Yeah. If just one fight goes poorly for Butter, JCog is back in the running for this race, so. Icewind, you have no power here. I'm assuming there's a link that got deleted, so.
So the spear guys actually have like this dancing animation. It wastes. Oh no. Butter getting the encounter.
No, Butter got the encounter.
It wastes time.
Run.
Oh no. I forgot about
Okay.
this. Okay, so he was at 1 HP. If he failed to run, they would have killed him and he would have lost Peril. That would have been a really big time loss. Because
he would have
couldn't
needed
have
to
power quaked the upcoming fights.
Yeah, he would have needed to do like Starstorm and stuff, which is very slow.
Yeah,
So,
I think he would have had to Starstorm twice, maybe? I can't recall.
that sounds right because there's 2 Piranha fights, but yeah. JCog will potentially save a little bit of time here because he won't need to, hopefully won't need to grab the heart block at the end of Volcano, but that's a little ways off.
So what I was trying to say before is these spear guys, like, they kind of have a mind of their own. It's luck-based whether or not they do that head bobbing animation, and when they do, you lose some time and you have to wait for them to stop. We'll see it right here with JCog. Okay, he got it immediately, unlike Butter. Butter had to wait a little while before the spear guy would actually go to the right.
Luckily, JCog not getting that encounter, so saving a little bit of time. And Butter with that sweet swag hammer there, entering the battle. You can actually first strike these piranhas with Bombette. It's not intended. It's a dubious status right now, but it is allowed in Glitchless right now. So they do that, and that speeds up the fight a little bit. Saves on FP for sure. And rescuing the yellow Yoshi.
Yeah, the problem with first striking that piranha plant is when you enter the battle, you can actually run away, which you're not supposed to if you encounter it regularly. And also the battle music is different. What the heck? He clearly hammered that tree. Right?
Yeah, that was a really dumb tree. So the trees in this game are known for having bad hitboxes, but that was awful. I mean, you saw JCog just hammered the tree there. Looked like he hammered the ground, but that counted apparently. And he also picked up a Fright Jar there that Butter also picked up, which will be useful in Chapter 6. It's the second out of 2 times that they'll use a Fright Jar. The other was Chapter 1, of course. Hopefully JCog has a little bit better RNG with this Fright Jar. JCog also getting that nice swag hammer into the battle. So right now Butter's about a minute 15, I want to say. That's my estimate. Ahead. Because JCog has been getting some nasty RNG. I would say it would be within 20 seconds, or even closer with that encounter now. Probably within 10 seconds or so. Although it's tough to say, 10, 15 seconds, if not for the RNG that JCog has been getting. Hopefully it goes a little better for him later in this game. Definitely in chapters 5 and 6. The boss of chapter 5 and then a little bit on chapter 6. But we will see what happens. JCog is just trying to play really well right now to minimize the damage.
So the gimmick of this puzzle is that there's like a bunch of holes, and only some of them actually will spew out water. So we just cover them all the ones that will spew out water.
Yeah, it's much quicker than just kind of doing them in a different order. But yeah, Butter going through the rest of the deep jungle, as we refer to this area as. And this fight is one of the things that would have been a problem if he had lost Peril. He would have had to Starstorm this fight and the Bombette First Strike fight. But instead, he can just Power Quake with that Mega Rush bonus. Does a lot of damage.
Oh, what is he doing?
What is he doing?
Oh my god, he's dead.
Oh no. What just
is he
happened?
doing? I have
That
no
was
idea
unbelievable.
what just happened.
Wii U?
No, he's on N64.
Yeah.
He, for some reason, did
Yeah,
not match Power Bomb.
Ooh. He was mashing for Air Raid. Wow. According to Kendall.
Okay,
that
he
is-
has lost his first life shroom. Okay, they now have 5
Should've
HP
Starstorm,
each.
probably.
So a Starstorm kills.
Yeah, it's really bad. That is going to let JCog gain a lot of time. And, I mean, it's much closer now. Yeah,
Well,
so...
we really appreciate this, Butter, for JCog's sake.
If you're JCog, you definitely want to see that, I guess. But really unfortunate for Butter. He's still ahead. You know, he still has a decent margin to work with, but losing that life stream, he didn't really want that to happen.
Okay, so since JCog got a Frychar fail, he actually has like 2 extra experience points. So he's actually going to level up here after this fight is over. I believe he's going to upgrade BP.
Yeah, this is a BP upgrade. Normally, I mean, you'll see Butter up will get the level up on the Lava Piranha fight. But since he got that Frychar fail, JCog will have to do it here. Hopefully he actually can save time with that. He can skip a heart block that Butter will have to get. And it saves like a few seconds, probably. A couple seconds. Or he potentially can skip that heart block. Alright, so both talking to the Ravens now, and soon to be entering the volcano. We're going to get the Ultra Stone here as well. Ultra Stone will let them Ultra rank their partners, give them basically another upgrade in addition to the super upgrade we saw earlier. And that's super useful for Paracarry, as well as a partner a little bit later, Lackluster. And so... yeah. Paracarry's 4th ability is very useful for several of the fights left in the game. And also that extra damage is pretty sweet. So he's seeing that upgrade in the volcano.
JCog has actually switched to Paracarry outside of Volcano. It's faster to switch to Paracarry here because after you jump off of the net basket thing that Butter's about to jump on, if you have a flying partner, you actually get to move at a sooner point in time than if you don't.
That is actually news to me. That is insane.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
If you look at what happened to Butter, he was actually not able to move for like a good second or something because the game is waiting for Bombette to reach the ground.
Really interesting, huh?
Yep. And then you'll see it when JCog does it. He'll be able to move the moment Mario touches the ground instead of the partner.
Butter also going for this quick cycle on the platforms. Gets it pretty clean. And switching to Paracarry there, that's where I always thought you should switch to Paracarry, but apparently not. And hello Max Hellman in chat. Get your merch and make Max a happy camper today. Get your GSA merch. hoodies, t-shirts, drawstring bags. And Butter just grabbed this life shroom. So now he has another life shroom. They both did lose theirs. So they should typically have 2 at this point, but unfortunately both losing their life shrooms and are going to have to grab a backup one in the sewers. Or is the jail one faster? I'm not actually sure.
I think jail is faster by a small amount.
So,
but they may want to get the one in the sewers just for safety.
Yeah,
because they still have to fight Crystal King and, you know,
yeah,
stuff like that.
Well, we'll see. They'll grab an extra life shroom at some point, but now they have that safety of this one life shroom.
If you leave the room, you cancel Clippy. Really clean movement from JCog right there. He instantly went down after the block puzzle.
Yeah, good strat, good strat. And
so
here's this upgrade. Yep.
Butter's upgrading Paracarry once again. Not only for the power boost, but for the air raid move as well. And he also just equipped Ice Power because he'll need it on Lava Piranha. So I believe since JCog has leveled up early, he does not need to unequip Power Quake.
Correct. He will have a little bit easier time menuing here. He's just going to equip Ice Power for the Lava Piranha fight. And, ooh, really clean right there. I almost missed that menu. So yeah, just equipping Ice Power and getting that upgrade. And he will also try not to take damage from these fire bars here because he will want to skip the heart block. Assuming he still has 10 HP. I didn't see if he got burned by anything. Yep, trying to get around these fire bars. Usually use the iframes from the fire bars to get through those embers without a problem. But he does want to stay at 10 HP, and you'll see he'll skip on a heart block that Butter is going to hit right here. And Butter's actually going to try and do this. Alright, he missed it, but you can actually hit that heart block right before Colorado talks, and the 2 cutscenes will actually overlap. Saves a little bit of time.
Another fun fact is that you have to push this block at least 26 times to complete the puzzle.
Oh wow, I did not know that. And Butter choosing to save for Lava Piranha. Probably a good idea, just in case. He does have the lead, and so can kind of afford a little bit of time loss there. But JCog is going to skip that heart block, but he can't just go straight to the Lava Piranha fight. He has to watch this cutscene with Colorado. You can make it down those stairs before Colorado actually talks. And if you do that, you will actually soft lock. So choosing to skip the save as well. He does have a life shroom, so he should be fine if he misses a block.
Okay, Butter has saved, but JCog has not.
Yeah. I don't expect JCog will have a problem with this fight, hopefully, but I mean he does have a life shroom, so. And
yeah, he's got
coming
4
up
chances to hit the block.
Yeah.
So he should be fine.
Yep, should be. And coming up, Butter's going to do another power bounce here in phase 2 of the fight. He wants a 6 cap to save a lot of time over any other cap. And we'll see what happens. That's a 35% chance.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Not even capped. Are you?
That's ridiculous. The game is loving Butter right now. And, you know, we'll see what JCog gets with this.
You know, if it wasn't for that jungle mistake with the encounter and then with messing up Powerbomb, I think Butter would have been on PB pace. Potentially.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, this is kind of ridiculous Chapter 5, except for that encounter. And JCog.
Man.
4 capped. Jeez. So, not getting the best treatment by the game right now. That's like 20 seconds lost to a 6 cap, so.
So far in this run,
Did you get 3
JCog has
capped?
gotten a Fright Jar fail, a double 4-cap Lava Piranha, or sorry, Lantern Ghost, and not 6-cap Lava Piranha.
He also just got 3 capped.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on the second bounce. Luckily,
Wow.
3 will kill if you get a 4 cap. I forget, do you need a 4 if you get a 3 cap, or does a double 3 cap kill?
I think double 3-cap kills you.
So, fortunately, he got a 4 bounce in phase 2. But double 3 cap is pretty unlikely. It's really unbelievable RNG for JCog.
Yeah, it's
Still carrying on.
if you double 3-cap, you lose, unless you have fair carry, and in that case, a skydive will kill.
I'm assuming a life shroom.
Or yeah, tank a life shroom and just kill him next turn.
Oh, wait. No. The strat, if you get 3 capped, is you want to keep paracarry out for that reason.
Yeah, because in the event if you get another 3-cap, you can kill with fair carry.
Yeah. Fortunately, JCog not getting the double 3 cap fight. But let's get a not great fight. And Butter is saving even more time to RNG. Oh, I forgot Butter had that kind of mishap on the Piranha fight, so yeah, so not a very clean jungle from Butter, but it's just that lava Piranha fight, jeez. So the game really helping Butter out here despite those mistakes in the jungle and not giving JCog a break. In fact, this is some of the worst RNG probably you could expect from a run. I mean, this is in the territory of like the worst extremes of RNG. But JCog still, I don't know, what's our time looking like? Oh, interesting. So that's looking like 55 seconds. So still less than a minute difference. Not great. You know, the 6 cap would have been good for JCog, but there is that chance that Butter does get a pretty bad fight in Chapter 7 or 8, and that could swing things. But not looking... Yeah.
I love the bad RNG that JCog has gotten this run. He's really not far behind, which is really impressive.
Yeah, it's incredible that he's not 2 minutes behind Butter right now with that RNG. Like, I think if you told me he got no 6 cap Lava Piranha what Butter did, a Fright Jar fail and double 4 cap on landing ghost, I would have said he's at least a minute and 30 behind, but he's still staying strong. 55 seconds is definitely recoverable. But the game is not showing any signs of slowing down on Butter's side. Just got to get this quiz.
So if you win this quiz, you actually win a Jam and Jelly, but it wastes time to receive it, so we lose on purpose.
Yes, if you mash A, you will win. So the last question was intentionally answered wrong.
Yep. Fun fact is you can just mash through the whole quiz and still win. And the answers are always the same.
Yes, the backup for 3 cap on Lava Piranha is for Colorado to come in and do a power bounce. Saving the day yet again. Almost like a super crispy menu from Butter there, but messed up a little bit.
Yeah, so Butter just equipped Power Bounce and Power Quake. He's going to use both of those in Chapter 6. And he also took off Ice Power because that's no longer needed. And he replaced that with Spike Shield.
Yeah, Spike Shield is going to be useful on the upcoming Junior Troopa fight. I believe it's the only time Spike Shield is used in this run.
We used to purchase Thunderbolts in Chapter 2 for this fight, but it turns out it's actually faster to just pick up Spike Shield and use it instead.
Shoutouts to the Blushing Whale.
I was just going to say that.
And apparently it has a Thanos chin, according to someone. I forget who pointed that out. I don't know if we'll get to see that when they land, or maybe in this cutscene here. Yeah, the Thanos chin. Very interesting observation. But I got a chuckle out of that. JCog just having to do, just having to take off Ice Power and equip Spike Shield, so pretty quick menu. I mean, he was ready for that one. That was really cool.
You know, in terms of mistakes, I can't really recall too many from JCog. I actually think
I don't recall
Butter
any.
made the larger mistakes in this race.
Yeah, I would definitely say that Butter is. I mean, if we took away all the RNG, probably Butter's plus 10, maybe.
It's hard to say.
JCog's. It's hard. It is really hard to say, but yeah, JCog's playing really well, and it's deceptively. It's deceptive how far behind he is just from all that RNG. I mean, that is some of the worst RNG, probably the worst RNG we've seen in this tournament so far.
Yeah.
Although poor Kendall got a lot of bad RNG as well. And something Butter did, you'll see JCog do, I want to point out, is not only unblocking that attack for some peril strats later, but on this fight, actually, you don't need the extra damage, so not timing the power jump action command a little bit faster on the first jump, because Junior Troopa gives you a text box, and that text box appears a little quicker if you do not time the power jump. I think just because Mario lands faster.
Yeah, it must have something to do with the amount of time it takes Mario to touch the ground. That's probably when the text box is activated. So, a little time saver if you untime the first power jump here. But it does add a little bit of risk, because if you fail the second one, you die, I guess? So
yeah, the first time I tried to do that strat, I then missed the second power jump and died. And if you don't have a life stream, that is a game over. And I did not, so.
I'm not really sure if we mentioned the seeds, but throughout the run, we had to collect 4 seeds to enter Chapter 6. And the first fight that they do in Chapter 6 is what they're going to do is use a fry jar, and this could give JCog a little bit of a lead if Butter gets a bad pattern and he gets a good one.
Yeah, JCog would like some revenge for the Fright Jar fail in Chapter 1. Ideally, he wants a double success here. And if Butter does get a double fail, I mean, that's big time save, like at least 20 seconds, I think.
Yeah, I believe one fail it wastes like 7 seconds, and then like double fail wastes like 20-ish. The numbers could be a little bit off on that, but I think that's roughly around correct. Over getting a double success, I mean. Butter almost getting a star piece.
Plus RNG. Oh, double fail for Butter.
It's also a 50-50 whether or not that works.
Nice. 100% for Butter. Yeah, so getting into peril from this mall, gonna kill him. And then airlift the next mall. So this is the worst RNG for this fight. And JCog will save a lot of time if he gets his double success. So really praying for that. So bless RNG if you're a JCog fan. Or bless RNG if you want him to double fail, I guess. But hopefully not. That would be just insult to injury. Although this one is much more likely. 25% for double success, 25% for double fail, so. Plus RNG.
Really fast menu from JCog also.
Ooh. Oh, double success.
That is really big. That saves him 20 seconds, I believe, over Butter. That makes up for the Fright Jar fail, I think.
Yeah, so. Yeah, Apoggies in chat, I think is the name. Yeah, Poggies. Really funny one. So he's gonna kill this mole after getting into peril. They just want to kill 1 out of the first 3 moles. So hopefully, and you want to avoid airlifting them because that is pretty slow. So that's why the Fright Jar is there in the first place. But unfortunately, Butter had to airlift both of those moles, or 2 of the moles. And yeah, we haven't really mentioned it, but this game is a walking sour please, I guess. Very good songs in this game. I really genuinely can't think of a bad song in this game. A song that I don't like. And again, I'm a pretty big fan of Chapter 6, and I know a lot of people aren't, so. But yeah, gonna get through this pretty difficult room here for Butter. You know, adjusting there, really neat spin cancel there.
I believe that JCog is now only 32 seconds behind.
Yeah, something like that. So it's really, you know, that's really a good way to close the gap there. Definitely payback for the bad RNG JCog has been getting. So yeah, we'll see JCog go through this death room as well. I mean, this is just a really tough room to master. And have to go through this 4 times, twice each way, so be a little tricky. So yeah, a lot of this chapter is, you know, going back and forth between rooms, which I expect is the reason a lot of people do not like this chapter, just because there's a lot of fetch questing, you know, going from different areas and going back to areas. So could see why it's not so popular, but I like it. But yeah, they're just going to be doing a lot of errands, pretty much to get to the end and fight the final boss, which very difficult final boss casually. I'm sure Huff and Puff caused a lot of pain to a lot of casual players, but not really a bad fight in Glitchless. In Glitchless, I specify. Can't really go wrong. A 3 cap is rare, but would cost a life shroom. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Chapter 6 and runs, just because I really like the movement. There's a lot to optimize about this movement. Especially this maze can be really fun to do, and there's a lot of time save to be, you know, there's a high skill ceiling, I guess, to this chapter, yes, in terms of movement. And same with Chapter 2, yeah.
I think of all of the chapters, this one is the hardest to optimize in glitched categories. Surprisingly, because there's a few things that you can do that like only the task can do. For example,
Like yellow berry skip and stuff.
Yep, and
Which
early
Ryoma does
lackluster.
too. Yeah, the bubble berry skip. But I mean, just in terms of movement, this is you know, hard to get optimal chapter.
And we haven't really mentioned this much, but there's actually a faster route than the one they're doing if you use bow for spook. So,
JCog got a little lost there.
yeah, I was
a
like,
tree.
looking at that. So yeah, Bo has this move called Spook. Basically, the advantage of using Spook is that you can basically instantly end battles. The route that they're doing now, basically they use Lackluster instead of Bo for like instantly ending battles, but the problem is you don't get Lackey until like Chapter 6 is nearly complete. So you couldn't use Spook on the moles or the maze fight. And that's where most of the time save is for the Spook route. Because you have to like kill them and you have to Starstorm on the maze fight, for example, and that's like where most of the time save comes from. But yeah, no one really does the Spook route because it's much harder to mash to get the action command to like 100%. So
28-22 for Butters Waterstone. We'll see what JCog's time, how it compares. Surely gaining tons of time for that double Fright Jar success. Fright win.
you should probably use Butter's timer instead of JCog's because his was a little bit behind, I think.
Yeah, I'll just do that, I guess. Although they got synced, so, or maybe they're a little out of sync. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. So 59, so 37 seconds difference, which is actually a lot more manageable. I mean, there's a lot of stuff that can really add up to that 37. And so we'll see how this rest of the run goes for both of these runners. But JCog he wasn't out of the running before that Fright Jar, but that is really probably giving him a new second wind, I guess. neither of these runners went for spike jump, head jump. So neither of them got it. No.
Okay, so Butter only got one bubble berry. JCog got 2. If Butter gets first struck by this upcoming bee, which is RNG, he's gonna run into some problems.
Yeah.
All right, he's safe.
All right, he's safe. And see if Butter can get this top step. Very clean movement. I'm sure he will. Oh, he didn't even get on the step. Wow. So a little bit of time lost there from Butter. I guess I jinxed it. Commentator's curse. And we'll see how JCog fares with this RNG encounter. Oh, okay. Getting out of there. So neither of them getting that encounter, which is very fortunate. And yeah, so something to note is JCog will have a backup bubble berry if the sewers for some reason don't go well. So
yeah,
oh,
there
that's
are
top
many
step.
uses.
There you go. So
There's
JCog
many uses of that backup bubble berry. You can use it if you get first struck by the bee, or if you fail a block, or if you get first struck by a Dark Koopa or Spiny in the sewers. So there's at least 3 uses for it.
JCog also got double Fright Jar success to Butter's double fail here in Chapter 6 on the moles. So that is a big part of why he's catching up. He would be... I mean, JCog would be flying without this RNG stuff. JCog did recently PB, so he has been playing pretty well recently, I would say. I didn't see what cap Butter got on Lackey.
5.
Okay, so that's fine. Hopefully JCog also gets a 5 cap. Otherwise he'll need to eat a stinky herb, which wastes probably like 5 seconds, something like that. More, maybe.
Yeah, I think it's slightly more than 5 because you have to both collect and then eat the stinky herb.
But he got a 5 cap, or a 5 bounce, I should say. So no need to worry about that. And what I think of as like the second phase of Chapter 6 after Lackey, going to get or going to do the puzzle, the pillar puzzle, the spike puzzle, whatever you want to call it, and machine fight, and then Huff and Puff.
I have faith that JCog will PB in Glitchless soon.
Butter messing up 2 of those pounds there.
Yeah, that probably lost like 2 seconds.
Yeah, and I mean I did say that the Huff fight was not a big deal in Glitchless, not really terrible, but there's that lingering possibility of a 3 cap on the Huff fight, and neither one of these runners will want to get that. It's very unlikely that they'll get that, but yeah, they're gonna go for a 5 bounce. 4 cap is not huge, but a 3 cap would lose a life stream, so very bad. And Kendall is giving us some insider info. JCog apparently only 25 seconds behind his PB, which is unbelievable, really. I mean, he got double 4 cap on Lantern Ghost and a Fright Jar fail in Chapter 1. No 6 cap on Lava Prana. Really unbelievable that he's 25 seconds behind his PB. Super good play here from, I mean, really both these runners, but JCog especially to keep pace with Butter after all this stuff has been going on. And this is their first and only HP upgrade of the run. You need some HP to deal with Huff and Puff and some of the future bosses. Oh, now apparently only 16 seconds behind his PB. According to Kendall. So, very good play from JCog. And kind of unbelievable. But it just goes to show how good they are both playing right now. And planting this bean is kind of a very long cutscene without any inputs, and also riding the bean up, the beanstalk up, is also a long cutscene. So if you need the bathroom, you don't want to miss any of the action, go do that. JCog's just upgrading Lackey, and so won't really see any action for another minute plus. So go use the bathroom, hydrate, be sure to hydrate, check out the merch, exclamation mark merch. Go buy some GSA merch. And yeah, we will see the Huff fight pretty shortly.
Butter not saving before Huff.
Yeah, I mean, he shouldn't have to. But yeah, hopefully nothing goes wrong. Alright, so what Butter just did, he went off screen and back on screen to reset this cloud cycle. And that saves like a second, I think. Nice clean equip there. And he rode that cloud up to jump onto the other cloud and get the badge S jump charge, super jump charge. And that is super useful, very useful badge. Allows Mario to, well, so if you use the charge, as we'll see right here, Mario will gain +3 attack, and that's stacked, so you can keep charging, and that is going to be really insanely helpful for doing a lot of power bounce damage. And also, Huff has this wind attack. Butter going to do 6, I guess. Going for 6 damage on the wind. Maybe he'll block it. No block, so he has to block the next attack, but yeah, that wind can do a variable amount of damage depending on where that meter is. And typically you want it to be in the 6 range in order to get into peril. And 5 cap, I think, from Butter, so clean fight, nothing went wrong.
Yeah, he got a 5 cap or higher. He didn't actually get capped. He could have kept going if he wanted, but he stopped at 5 because it killed.
JCog about to start his bounces here. Okay, and also getting a 5 bounce. Got capped there. But doesn't matter. Actually, I think saves a little bit of time getting capped. So...
Oh, I think that's actually just a rumor. I'm not sure if it's faster to get capped or not.
Well, here I am spreading rumors. So, it is definitely very close. And,
yeah, it needs to be timed, I guess.
Yeah, thinking ahead. Thinking ahead. So, Chapter 7 is pretty... I mean, the sewers could go... Hopefully don't go poorly, but could go some way. And so we'll just have to see. But As far as RNG stuff goes, the next really RNG element is Crystal King. Some stuff along the way, but the Crystal King fight has a chance to 3-cap you, and 3-cap is pretty bad. That is a guaranteed death, and they would need to restart from a save. If Butter does get 3-capped, JCog would have a lot of... He would have a pretty big lead at that point, so just for Butter's sake, don't want that to happen unless you're rooting for JCog. But that is one thing that could definitely swing this race. The next RNG would be stuff in Chapter 8. There actually is a lot of RNG in Chapter 8. The final boss rush could definitely swing this race. In fact, I think if they're like 30 seconds apart, that's like a final Bowser pattern apart, pretty much. So 30 seconds going into Chapter 8 would be ridiculously close, let me just say that. And we'll have to see how they fare in Chapter 7.
Yeah, JCog just has to keep the pressure on Butter. And then if he gets luckier at Final Bowser, he can win the race potentially.
Well, the worst Peach cutscene nearly over. Butter, I expect, is going to take a comfy break here with the controller reset.
Oh yeah, a 3-cap Crystal King would easily change the course of this race.
Yeah, it would. A 3-cap Crystal King would essentially either give JCog the lead, a pretty solid lead, or essentially clinch the race for Butter. You know, it would, you know, you still don't want to say that it would totally clinch it because there is that chance that someone messes up something, but yeah, a 3-cap Crystal King would be huge, and it hasn't happened so far this tournament, so cross your fingers.
I don't believe we've actually had a 3-cap Huff either.
No 3-cap
had...
Huff or Junior, I think. So none of the terrible 3-caps have happened so far.
Yeah, I believe the worst RNG we've seen is 2 runners have gotten double 4-cap on Lantern Ghost this tournament.
Which is really unlikely. A 2% chance twice in this invitational. You know, not the greatest, but definitely interesting, and really interesting to see how JCog is faring given this RNG so far. Yeah, the really bad 3-caps are typically like a 2% chance, so are not likely to happen, but JCog did get a double 4-cap on Lantern Ghost earlier, which was a 2% chance, so it can happen, as we've seen. Didn't JCog get 4-capped on his run against Shaz? 4-capped on what fight?
The reason they go talk to Merlin is so that they can enter the Chapter 7 door.
Yeah, if you forget to talk to Merlin, it's very bad because you'll get to the door and realize, hey, I didn't talk to Merlin. But yeah, that's required to enter Chapter 7. And Butter blocking both of Blooper's attacks. So hopefully rest of the sewers go well, and he will not have to do some sort of backup for Junior Troopa. JCog also heading into the Blooper fight, actually much closer than I thought. So one blooper fight away, essentially. And getting the corkscrew, so... JCog did not get double 4 capped on laner. I mean, he may have gotten 4 capped, but he did not get double 4 capped against Shaz.
It was Kendall versus Evan. Kendall got a double 4 cap.
Yeah, that was really unfortunate. Kendall did end up winning that race, so maybe it's in the cards for JCog as well.
Butter opting to get the live stream in the sewers.
Yeah, especially if something like he gets hit by a Dark Cooper or something. I'm sure he wants that for safety because he does not have a Bubble Berry.
Yep.
But does not need to eat it, so it is still a good safety to have. But yeah, and he can skip the jail live stream now if everything goes well. JCog losing a lot of time to have to lure this guy and get this live stream, so a good example of why.
Now have 2 live streams, which is what the amount that they want to have at the moment.
Yeah, ideally they would not have lost any, but they did lose 1, so they're grabbing that as a backup. Well, no encounters in the sewers. That is a really good thing for both of these guys. The sewers can be pretty tough and pretty scary. It's a pretty hefty time loss to get an encounter there. Typically it's a first strike, and that extra damage is costly. But upgrading Lackey to get his Ultra ability, Hurricane, which takes the place of Spook, as Glower was talking about earlier. That will get rid of all the enemies in the fight if 100%ed, and not give any experience as well. So
yeah, it's basically end the fight, the move. So it's much faster than slowly whittling down the HP of the enemies. Especially the Dupligos, who have 15, which is a lot of HP. That's the main reason I think that we use Spook and Hurricane, is because Dupligos have so much HP that it's better to just blow them away.
Yeah, in something like No Peach Warp, you just do Power Bomb and Starstorm, and that takes pretty long, so Hurricane is definitely a great option, and works out with the experience routing, so yeah, very useful for mostly the Chapter 7 fights, really.
Yeah,
but also
not to mention the Clovers that you have to fight.
Yeah, yep, in the Crystal Palace, and a fight in Chapter 8 as well.
I wonder how cold the water is.
Yeah, very risky of Mario to submerge himself in what must be very, very cold water. Or maybe it's not so cold. I mean, fish do survive under the ice. Just because I think all the heat gets trapped in the water. I could be extremely wrong about this, so no one call me out.
It may depend on the surroundings. I don't know.
Look, I'm just kind of familiar with No Peach Warp, you know. Nothing else.
The mayor is handing Herringway a present. I wonder what's inside. I don't think they ever actually reveal what's inside. I could be wrong, but
I don't think so. It might be, you know what it might be? It could be like a letter to Mario. You know, you can check his letters, his mail in his house, but that'd be very obscure. Yes, so this run is probably going to be about 3 hours and 50 minutes, assuming that nothing terrible happens. They're looking, I mean, both looking like sub 350 pace right now, so hopefully nothing major changes that, but it could happen. Butter's going to have to block both these attacks, JCog as well. Shouldn't have a problem, but there's one block. And just charging again to make this fight go by in basically a turn once they decide to start power bouncing. Once they get peril, basically. So yeah, starting out at 12 damage. And no sweat. No, do not call me Blistle. That is the worst thing you could ever say.
whatever you say, Blistle.
I really am not okay with this. JCog. Run through the fight. Butter's gonna fight Monstar. Probably considered by most people to be the hardest fight in the game, I would say. He's gonna have to do 4 bounces. Oh, and he gets it. Perfect. Beautiful Monstar fight. Very nerve-wracking on Butterlord's side. JCog finishes up Junior Troopa here, no problem. No, Glower saying it does not make it official, Dreaded. And Butter's gonna maybe? Nah. Yeah. So choosing to switch to Cooper here, which saves time because Merle, M-E-R-L-E, Merle, something like that, is going to. Was that his? I think his stream lagged a little bit. He looked like he cleared that text box really fast. Anyway. Saving time a little bit because Merle has to walk to the door, and Merle can do that while the partner is coming out. So it saves time to switch partners there. And a similar thing happened when they entered the mayor's house.
Yeah.
In the first room, the door to outside has to close fully before the second door can be opened. And so since the door can close and during the partner swap and kind of overlap with that cutscene, it saves time to switch to Sushi there. And that's what also the switch to Cooper would have been here before. I guess it was you, Glower, who said that this was faster with the Merle walking.
Yeah.
So just interesting optimizations there.
Yeah, because like when you're doing the Merle cutscenes, you have to wait for him to reach a certain point before he talks. And if you do your partner swap, he'll move during that. And yeah, it's faster than doing it when the door is closing, because the door closing is a shorter cutscene. You'll see JCog do it here, though. Oh, never mind.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, you would have thought he would switch to Cooper. I guess he just forgot or something. So they're going to enter Shiver Mountain. and I think that's what it's called. Shiver Mountain? Snow Mountain? Shiver Mountain. Sounds right. Cool Mountain, I think Shaz wants us to call it. So, Cool Mountain. Yeah, Snowman's Land. Cool Mountain. There were some snowmen. And interestingly, these piranhas have a limited y-axis range that they can spot Mario from. So if Mario's out of that y-axis range, which hugging that wall guarantees, at least on the way there for complicated reasons, then you can just skate by those piranhas without them noticing you. So very comfy. And this is the reason to have Cooper out, yeah.
The real Cooper is always on the right, the fake is always on the left, so we always hit the one on the left to activate the fight. And Butter's gonna Hurricane here.
So JCog missing the jump cancel for his spin there, but still getting past the piranhas. So very simple. It doesn't work on the way back, like I said, because the wall in that room is very odd. And there is a way to kind of do that thing, but it's very precise. And Butterlord is going to get this Star Stone, whatever it's called. And
yeah, that's its name.
The Star Stone?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. Oh no, JCog is having big issues.
Oh
it
my
worked, though.
god, that's ridiculous.
Oh my god.
Yeah, so he messed up his Hurricane mashing a little bit, unfortunately. Both runners having a little trouble with mashing today. But yeah, you do not have to fill up Hurricane to 100% for it to work. But if you do, if you don't get it to 100%, it's actually random whether the enemies actually run away. And I don't know if it exactly correlates to where the bar is full, but yeah, it was a random chance, or where the bar is filled up to. But it is a random chance for those guys to run away since he did not get 100%. So very lucky for JCog, fortunately. And watching these stairs rise up is Butter, and JCog's about to do the same thing.
JCog making the excuse that he was working out too much, and that's why he can't Hurricane.
Classic.
I don't know if I believe him.
Yeah, not really sure. Not really sure. So a good opportunity to check times. 57:50 enter Palace for Butter. And we'll see how JCog's time compares in just a second. And Crystal Palace, very interesting movement. In kind of a different way than Dry Ruins or Chapter 6, where it's all about kind of those angles. But in Chapter 7, it's more about the distance that you spin. A lot of rooms are too short for full spins. So you kind of have to do like 1.5 spins or do some interesting spin cancels to make sure your movement is optimal. Butter, generally very good Chapter 7 Crystal Palace movement. So hopefully we'll see that from him and JCog as well. Looking like a 42 or 43 enter Palace for JCog, so just about, what, 50, not quite 50 seconds? Or I forgot what Butters was already. Anyway, 50 seconds-ish is where I'm going to put it. So, Butter gaining some time. I'm not sure what all that was from. Perhaps just good movement.
Yeah, there's a few things that JCog did not do that saved time, like switching to Cooper when Merlee is walking. So, and also had a little bit of trouble getting the life shroom.
Right. He did. Yeah, the sewer movement is deceptively tough. So anyway, just these fights are going to be more or less hurricane spam for a while, and it's mostly just going through these doors, doing a couple puzzles.
So the Bombette that's fourth in line is the real one. The rest are fake.
Very nice music, in my opinion, for Crystal Palace. Very nice atmosphere. One of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah. If you're running a glitched category and you're here, this is a nice relaxing song to like relax with.
Before the end of the game RNG.
Yeah. Sort of a silence before the storm. That is chapter 8.
Mediocre hurricane, I would say, from Butter. I know Butter can do those a lot better, but maybe he's been working out as well. So
He's saving his energy.
yeah, there you go. That was a little better. First, picking on Butter a little bit, but Hurricane is a very difficult mash. Probably one of the harder parts for beginners, I think, from what I've gathered, since there are a lot of new glitchless runners recently. A lot of people do have trouble with that mash, just because it's 2 buttons at once, which is, and it's a tough mash to get to 100% in itself. So, pretty clean stuff from both these guys, though. So. Yeah, very smooth mashes from JCog, making up for that earlier one. His arm is healed. Very tough to tell in this puzzle who the real Cooper is. Give you some time to figure it out.
So how do you actually mash for Hurricane?
I mean, how do I?
Yeah.
I use... I kind of like wrap my arm... It's not really... I just kind of use my thumb and index of my right hand. And I almost do it as though I were mashing one button. There's a lot of techniques people use for Hurricane, and mashing in general, but Hurricane, I've heard people use double thumb, one hand with different combinations of fingers, ring and index, thumb and ring, or I'm sorry, index and pointer, or what's the other finger called? Middle and index and thumb. I mean, I use thumb and middle finger. I might have said index before, I don't know. 3 hours of commentary.
I basically make the OK hand like this, and I mash with my index, my index and my thumb.
Yeah, I essentially do that with the middle finger, though, not the index, so kind of similar.
I just want to mention that Chapter 7 is a door opening simulator.
Very much so, yeah. And there's one door that behaves differently than all the others in Chapter 7.
I'm really curious about the number of doors that you open. It's got to be over 30.
Yeah, at first that seemed a little outrageous, but now that I'm thinking about it, might be close.
There's a few different variations you can do for this puzzle. It looks like Butter's doing the standard old school version.
Yeah, I mean, it's up in the air what is the fastest technically, but I think this one is pretty standard. This is the one I do. Probably, I don't even know if most people do it anymore. Seems like we've seen a lot of different ways to do it throughout this invitational tournament. The quick jump onto the top of the steps there. Very nice.
Butter also saving before Crystal King.
Very smart. Very smart. Hopefully no 3 caps, but a 3 cap would be a reset to a save there, and they want to have that save there.
There is a backup if someone gets 3 capped, but it's really sketchy and it might not work. So
isn't it actually like slower or something than just resetting?
I'm not sure.
It's a very poor backup. You do not want to get 3 capped. But Butter in this fight right now has to block exactly two more of these bits shots. Because each of these bits would do 2 blocked and 4 blocked, or 4 unblocked right now. And he wants to take 8 damage, so gonna block 2 and unblock 1. There you go. Now he's in peril, gonna bounce. Okay, and doesn't even get the 4 cap, gets the 5 cap. So quick fight, and we'll see if JCog can keep pace with that. So that's one of the big RNG things out of the way for Butter. He is kind of sailing now until Junior Troopa and pretty much Final Bowser. The last 3 bosses are all going to be kind of Monka-esque for these guys. So we'll see how those go. We'll explain the intricacies of the fights a little more when we get there. Wonder if JCog will go to block the last 2 instead of the first 2. He did not in his last race, so I expect he'll play it safe.
Yeah, it actually saves a small amount of time to block the last one. Okay, good. He didn't get a 3 cap.
Just finishing out with a shell shot because he did not get that 5 cap, but no 3 cap, so both, breathing a little sigh of relief. And we are in the clear for, until the last 3 fights really of the game. And we'll see how they go. They could definitely go wrong. Not wrong, but they could really make up time for JCog. Or lose him even more time, I suppose.
So just a reminder, the winner of this race will face me, and the loser will face Chomsky. After this race, there will be 2 more. There will be 1 for the bronze, which is 3rd place, and then 1 for 1st place.
Alright, so apparently a minute and 4 second difference. what I'm being told by the chat. And a minute and 4 is fairly secure for Butter. Now, have been saying that the last few fights could go wrong, and barring a 3-cap Junior Troopa. Did Butter do the spin cancel there, or did he just get by both of those? Piranhas. I didn't see. But yeah, barring a 3-cap on Junior Troopa in Chapter 8, I think, if that fight goes well, I think Butter, it's a pretty clean shot to win this. And he could lose a lot of time on the last 2 fights, but I don't think it's enough. But Junior Troopa does exist, so definitely watching out for that.
Yeah, I would say it's pretty unlikely for Butter to lose a minute, unless it's something out of his control at this point, or Final Bowser. Final Bowser's like pretty technical. You have to block every attack pretty much. You can still win if you don't block any, but you of course should block them all.
Right. And these guys pretty comfortable with their blocks at this point. Been running this game for well over a year. So I don't expect, we're not expecting someone to miss a block. Cross your fingers. But the fight could still go a number of ways, even if they block everything, they'll win. But it could still go very slowly for one of the runners if Bowser is not nice. And I don't know how fast the fastest Bowser fight is compared to the slowest, but I'm not sure if that combined with Hallway Bowser RNG is enough to swing this.
It could be. I think. It's going to depend on what happens in Chapter 8, of course, but...
Yeah, Beamless is fast. And, there's still the opportunity to get boned. They still have to go through the cannons. There is, a lot more than we're letting on still left to go before that, but, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
A 2-turn versus 3-turn, I think, is like a 12-second difference. And then, yeah, like Chomsky said, it's plus 12 every turn, I believe. But it might be a little more for 4-turn, but I'm not really sure.
Yeah. JCog might be hanging on by a thread. Not sure. If he plays, he plays really well and gains a little bit more time over Butter before that would be very comfortable.
So should we go over like the major mistakes of each runner? Just to recap.
Mistakes.
Because I can't really recall too many mistakes that JCog has made.
Yeah, there weren't. Butter had a little spaghetti in the jungle. Got an encounter with a spear guy, and then missed his power bomb action command on one of the piranha fights. So lost, I'm assuming, like 20, 30 seconds in the jungle. Probably closer to 30. Did get saved by that 6-cap lava piranha though. And JCog has been playing really well to make up for his kind of lackluster RNG pretty early on. He did get a double 4-cap Lantern Ghost, Fright Jar Fail in Chapter 1, and not a 6-cap Lava Piranha, so playing really well to keep this kind of pace. Despite that, I mean, because that RNG is you wouldn't continue a PB attempt at this level for that RNG. So
the key that drops here is RNG. That can drop to the left or to the right.
yeah, shoutouts to key direction.
This room also has a little bit of RNG. The enemies move around randomly, but not usually a problem.
All right, no need for the jail life stream from either of these runners picking up that one in the sewers. And let's see how lava basement goes for both these guys. Falling in the lava is not great. That would be a good opportunity to make up some time. And I actually don't think Butter goes for that, optimization with the Lackey platform. I'll point it out in a second.
Yeah, I timed it recently, and I think it's like roughly even. Because it's like...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Spinning is really fast.
It's much cooler, though, so... Does not look like the lava basement is going to be a problem for Butter. We will see about the blind section in just a little bit, but yeah, not expecting many problems from these seasoned runners. Very far left on that partner swap there.
Butter accidentally switching to Watt, wasting 2 seconds.
Oh, did he? I didn't even notice. He has a fight coming up in this room. Let's see if JCog gets this jump. Good.
Yeah, that jump is more important than the second one. It saves more time if you get it. See, the path to the left is shorter, so it would go to the right quicker.
Hmm. So if the Magic Cooper runs, does run. Not sure of the chances. Alright, Butter's turning on this. I forgot about this. He uses his capture card. So Butter just turned on a filter for his capture card, and this will allow him to do a section here coming up without having to use Watt. And we'll see what that looks like in just a second. See if he gets this cool... Oh my goodness. Nice spin. That spin is very clean, to get down onto that. I wouldn't call it a platform, but a second level of lava. And yeah, we're going to see the blind basement in a second. By the way, Glower, do you know the chance of that Magic Koopa not running? Because I've only ever seen it twice.
I have no idea what the odds are, but it's not high.
Yeah, it's pretty rare. And if that happens, if you got a Fright Jar fail, it's actually kind of bad. Because you can't kill that Magic Koopa, I think.
Well, I think you can, but maybe not with this route, actually. So I think what you would maybe do instead is maybe use up and away, or just continuously do nothing so that it eventually runs.
I think the recommendation was do nothing, but you can also airlift it.
Oh yeah, I forgot about airlift, of course.
You can kill it with an untimed jump with one Fright Jar fail. Oh, is it? Maybe it's if you get double fail, you can't kill it. JCog also tried to go for that super crispy spin down there. Did not get it. Okay, so if you had a double Fright Jar fail, then you cannot fortunately, JCog did not. You cannot kill that magic. Alright, so Butter is out of that blind basement. Didn't really comment on it, but yeah, so you're supposed to use Watt there, and he did not. So all there is to say about it. JCog using the brightness on his TV, maybe it's just naturally bright, or he cranked up the brightness, but we cannot see what's going on, so it looks pretty cool. Because it doesn't look like he has a clue what's going on, but he knows very well.
Yeah, JCog is lucky enough to have a TV where he can actually see without applying any filters through his capture card. I think what Butter does is he actually looks at OBS during this part, or during the blind basement part. There's actually a missing piece of wall on this middle section of this room. You can accidentally walk through the wall if you're not careful, and if that happens, your run's dead.
I didn't know about that. It's very interesting.
Yeah, that little wall clip was actually used in old any percent runs back when we didn't know about the fastest flood room.
Fast flood room is still not as fast as I'd like it to be. I just want to be able to open the door.
In the middle of the room on the left side, you can walk through the wall. On the very top platform. Right where JCog is now.
Like in this tunnel here, or
outside of the tunnel.
Yeah. So you could fall onto the water, you're saying?
Yep.
Wow. That would not be a nice thing.
Very small amount of lag there for Butter because a few coins dropped. The amount of coins that drop is random. The more that drop, the more lag there will be.
Yeah, lag can really kill. Can really kill you in this room. There's definitely a lot of lag that can happen. In like a pretty free cannon room right now. Ooh,
oh no.
Does not want that, yeah. So it doesn't
Commentators curse.
Sorry. Sorry, Butter.
Oh my god, he almost didn't run.
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Okay, so that's one extra encounter as well as a first strike. First strike isn't major, but does not want that extra encounter. So JCog can make up 10 to 12 seconds.
This is all your fault, Blistle.
I guess I deserved that one. Well, Butter did not get boned, so ooh.
Oh no.
And
JCog suffering the same fate.
This might be
think that
just
he's
too
move
far. This might be like barely far. Oh my god, I can't believe that just... Wow. The second platform is pretty free, but he was right on the edge, I thought. There's no way. So, takes the first strike, but not an extra encounter, so still save time over Butter here. Yeah, looking like, ooh, that was scary. But yeah, we'll save time over Butter's cannon room there, so. Anything he can get right now.
Both runners have to hit the heart block though, because they both got first struck.
Yep.
This Tribones is RNG, but luckily in Glitchless you can actually like parry the attack with your spin because you have Dizzy Attack, I think it's called.
Yeah, Dizzy Attack. I didn't know that you could actually do that though, and if you spun.
Yeah, so if you just frame perfectly spin, you can actually always avoid the encounter as long as you have that badge on. So that's a really cool thing in Glitchless.
Alright, so just doing this boring quiz. I will take the opportunity to use the bathroom and get a drink. Nothing much happening for a little bit here, so hold down the fort blower and don't let bio ruin your career.
I think it's time I call bio. So you have the quiz here, it's actually always the same answers. There's no RNG here. So that's a nice little thing. I want to say JCog is about 45 seconds behind. I could be off on that. Oh, okay, yeah, Butter got a strange variation there. Usually what you can do in that room is you can just hold right and just spin. But sometimes the Hammer Bros will go lower than usual, and in that case you have to go up top. And most of the time, like you can see there, you can go below that Hammer Bros and simply loop around that one. So this path is always the same. You go up once, down twice, and then up, down, up. Actually, I think JCog is probably a minute behind at this point. Oh, JCog opting to save. Butter did not save, I don't think. So if Butter gets a 3-cap Junior Troopa, this race could go to JCog, because the backup for that I think is pretty sketchy. So we'll see what happens with that. Here's another example of Hurricane saving a lot of time. These Duplo Ghosts all have 10 HP, or sorry, 15 HP, so just blowing them away is much quicker than killing them. Alright, Butter's got all the right badges on now, and he has bow. This fight is completely free. unless you miss a block, or if you get a 3 cap. And also, you don't want to use power jump. I have actually done that in a race before. I used power jump here, and I had to reset.
Alright, I have returned. Sorry about that. Just in time to see the 3 cap Junior Troopa from Butter. Butter does have that clutch backup on deck though. So we'll see what happens next turn. Alright, and a 4 bounce there will kill. So Butter is looking poised to take this semifinal race. It's not over, but poised. Eating this jam and jelly, so he's in good shape for the Hallway Bowser fight. Hallway Bowser could take anywhere from 2 to 4 turns. And Butter, of course, wants the 2-turn. JCog would love it if Butter had a 4-turn Hallway Bowser. And after that, it's just the final fight. Alright, JCog. And the 4 bounce as well.
Stops at 5. He could have gone for a 7 cap there. If he got a 7, he could have gone for 4, and it would have been a little bit more safe to do that. But he decided to stop at 5.
Going for a 5 now.
Wow.
And he gets it. So, really, this should... If Butter plays, you know, decent, if Butter hits all his blocks and stuff, Butter should be, you know, all set to take this race.
I think Butter got perfect RNG this run, except for the Fright Jar.
Yeah.
Where he got a double fail.
Yeah, I can't think of any RNG that he didn't get. I mean, we'll see Final Bowser, but...
Yep. Oh, also opting to save.
Yeah. Five cap from Hallway Bowser for JCog. So we'll go for another 5 cap to stay up to pace with Butter, but Butter doing his equips for the expert fight, and he will head into Final Bowser. And
oh, wow.
The 5 bounce, so two-turn fights. It's good to see from both these runners. But Butter does have that big lead right now, and I think if he plays well, if they both, you know, assuming they hit their blocks and stuff, I think Butter will win regardless of RNG. So JCog prays for double lightning for Butter.
I believe Butter is hoping for a 4 cap here.
Yep,
if no 4 cap, he's going to have to switch to Paracarry and Skydive next phase.
Yes, they want a 4 and a 3. No more, no less. And he did get the 4, stops. He did not get capped, but he stops. Very important that they don't deal too much damage during this fight. ideally, I guess ideally there would be a point, not ideally, but usually there will be a point where Bowser is at 25 HP and Mario's at 10. And if that happens, then Bowser is a 75. If Bowser is any lower than 25 at that point, he will have a 75% chance to heal, and that is pretty much reset if he heals. So, very important to manage Bowser's health and Mario's health correctly. And yeah, like Blower said, a double 3 is fine, but would lose a little time because they would have to switch to Paracarry before phase 2 of this fight. And so we'll see JCog do it. He just got the double 3. Well, Isaiah, I will point out how the Twink fight is the worst fight in the game. Fight is it's completely scripted. There's nothing. It's awful. It's just like, well, I just want to get to Final Bowser. I just want to get to phase 2 and fight him. So let me through.
It's for the story. It's for the suspense.
Yeah.
It's for the drama.
Now, Butter might be on 346 pace.
I'm not exactly sure.
346 or 347. Wow. So Chomsky forwarding the info from Hednisk. Hednisk just crunched the numbers, and I'll read this. Found that this month of July 2019, had the most Paper Mario speedrun submissions ever. Wow, that is really incredible, actually. I knew we were seeing a boom in the number of runners, but that is really pleasant to hear. Really good news. And hopefully many more to come. It's been a great time for Paper Mario, quite honestly. JCog is not... JCog's not likely to win. Butter would have to mess something up at this point.
Bowser would have to heal.
Yeah, which will only happen if Butter messes up.
If Bowser heals once, JCog wins if he does a good fight.
Yep. And so Butter, I guess JCog switched to Paracarry. I didn't even point that out, but Butter will switch to Paracarry here. And Bowser is at 66 health, just right. We'll see what happens. I didn't even see the cursor move on that menu. Jeez.
That block doesn't matter because he'll still be in danger.
Yeah.
But it's good practice to hit that anyways.
I'm wondering if he missed that intentionally. I don't know. Interesting.
I'm not sure.
Not a good sign. Oh. I think he's styling. I think he's giving us a little scare. But that could be bad. That could be bad.
He might just be looking at the route. Okay,
Yeah.
this turn is big. Bowser could throw the fire. If he does, he'll be in peril. Okay.
Okay,
Wait, is that a
shield
turn
is-
3?
No,
A
turn
turn
4.
3 beam?
Turn 4. So that's a
Okay,
turn 4 beam is the most common pattern. This is pretty standard. Bowser is now at 25 HP. And so, very important to block this next attack. Okay, it's wave.
Okay.
So he'll show off the danger fight. Gonna repel, and then just keep doing power jumps and shell shots. and he will win very shortly, seems like.
I think that's GG.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Unless
So
Butter
Bowser
misses
did not.
and
Unless a command, yeah. But this should kill the skydive. Yep. So GG, and that will also be it for Butter and presumably the semifinal race. So GG to Butterlord. And we'll talk about JCog's fight right now, getting into the meat of it. So same stuff as Butter up until now. In fact, same wave or same shield pattern. Got a turn 4 shield. Bowser's also at 25 HP now. It also gets the wave. This has been like the same fight. So also repelling.
GG to Butter.
Yep, GG Butter. Really good stuff. And this is a mid, I think this is a low 346 pace. I didn't really see, but really insane time. Yep, and JCog will also kill with the skydive. I think they got like the exact same fight. Maybe like one move different, but yeah, GG to JCog as well on mid to low 347 pace as well. So 347 from JCog and a 346 from Butter. Kind of ridiculous here. And yes, so GG to JCog and Butterlord. And
Yeah,
wow,
that was a really good race.
What a race. JCog really pulling out all the stops to try and make that comeback. JCog played like I think JCog played almost perfectly, like to his goal. Not to his golds, but probably, I mean, just the best run he could ask for, really, especially in a race.
I want to say JCog made less mistakes than Butter this run.
I do want to say that as well. Butter's movement is a fair bit better, but so like it's hard to say who would have won if the RNG were taken out. But yeah, definitely Butter made some big mistakes, but that RNG and his movement was more than enough to compensate for it. And JCog playing insane, really out of his mind to compensate for the kind of ridiculous RNG he got. That is some of the worst RNG I've ever seen in a glitchless run. So yeah, Butter getting all the best RNG, JCog getting some of the worst RNG. So and still really close. So I'm just loving this. This race has been really fun.
So do we know what is next? Is it the bronze match that is next, or is it grand finals?
So those two matches have yet to be scheduled. We now know that Butter will play you, Glower, for first place for the first and second place match. And JCog will face off against Chomsky for the bronze match. And those still have to be scheduled. I'm anticipating, or at least hoping, that the bronze match is before the first place match for that hype effect. But we'll see how that gets scheduled, and be sure to keep up to date with that on the GSA stream schedule, !schedule in the chat, and you can follow that schedule to see when those are as they get scheduled, as well as all the other GSA events going on that you should definitely check out. Mario 64, Odyssey, Celeste, tons of other games that you can see here in the future. So keep up to date on those. And yeah, if you want to check out the bracket as well, !bracket, and that'll give you the brackets for GSA events. And of course, the Max Hillman plug. Get your GSA merch, !merch, for the Streamlabs merch page for GSA. Be sure to buy a t-shirt or something. And yeah, we're coming up on the end of this semifinal match. Butterlord is gonna do the final epilogue here in just 30 seconds. Yeah, so to reiterate, Chomsky versus JCog for the bronze match, 3rd and 4th place. And Butter versus Glower at some point for 1st place. And Butter doing Luigi skip, not bringing Luigi, and choosing to equip Speedy Spin. I think he'll save time with that menu. And so he will be coming up here shortly on the end. I mean, low 346. Kind of ridiculous. Talking to Vince, of course. Hello, Vince. I think Vince was here earlier. So, yeah, really good showing. Honestly, from both these guys, JCog's just about a minute behind, which is more than he could have asked for that with that RNG, to be honest. So, I expect we'll get at least one of them in here for an interview very shortly. And 346.19 for Butter. Kind of ridiculous time. If I got, if I had to say something about it.
Yeah.
Shout outs to Vince. All right. JCog skipping Luigi. Also choosing to unequip power jump and equip speed for the final leg here. And we'll see if he opts to talk to Vince. Oh, straight for him. Shout outs to Vince. And yeah, mid 347 for JCog. Crazy good performances from both these guys, honestly. And hopefully everyone enjoyed that race. It was a treat to watch, in my opinion, and to commentate. So I hope everyone else also enjoyed being here for a few hours. And so 347.30 from JCog. Congrats to both these guys. Congrats to Butterlord. JCog, hello.
Hello.
Hello. So you're in here first, so I guess I'll talk to you first. And Butter's here as well. So
Yeah.
JCog, you got any... Obviously, I think you have some thoughts about this run, but
RNG is fun, man.
RNG is fun, dude.
No, I feel like I played well overall, so I can't be upset. But no, that's good.
Yeah, for sure. You played pretty well. Glower and I can't really think of any mistakes you made. Played really clean and a great time considering.
Yeah, just moving mistakes and stuff like that. Nothing major.
Yeah, and Butter, how you feeling about your run? Congrats on the win. Got anything to say?
It was overall a pretty solid run, aside from the fact I tried using air raid in chapter 5 and I lost a minute to that.
Yeah.
That's why I failed that power bomb, because I was matching for air raid. I'm like, wait, that's not the right thing to do.
A little bit of a slip up, but kind of showing opposite ends of the RNG spectrum. Well, you both played pretty well. I certainly enjoyed watching this one. It was a treat to watch and to commentate. So good luck to both of you guys. You both have matches coming up. Bronze match and the championship match for JCog and Butterlord respectively. So I think that'll about wrap us up. Go follow these guys, twitch.tv/JCog, twitch.tv/Butterlord120. and my co-commentator, twitch.tv/I'mGlower. Go follow him. And that's been us. Anyone else got anything to say? Closing remarks?
Just thanks for having us. It's a good time.
Yeah, was a good race overall. Thanks for having us.
All right. Goodbye, everyone. Take care. Have a good night. And we will see you back here soon for the last couple of matches. So take care.